Welcome everyone to the Little Jolly Gamer Show. This is episode 72. This is our Game of the Year episode for the year 2017. Today's date is January 5th, 2018. 18. Gotta get it right. And before we get started deliberating and talking about our games of the year, this is gonna be a big episode, so buckle in. We're flushing the format. We're just talking about our games of the year, and that is it. And maybe some like disappointing games and some other miscellaneous
categories.
But we're not talking about what we've been playing. We're not talking.
No news.
No news. No nothing. Just game of the year.
No nothing.
So before we get started, I want to thank you so much for tuning in either on YouTube or on our RSS feeds across the cyberwebs, including iTunes, SoundCloud, anything that picks up an RSS feed. Podbean, Stitcher.
Addict.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more cool stuff, and a 5-star rating on iTunes helps us a lot as well.
Bow down to subscribers.
I am Brandon Jolly.
I am Jacob Langston.
And I'm Steven Geist.
And we're the Little Jolly Gamer Show. How is everyone? How's everyone
good.
doing?
Very good. It's still cold.
How you doing? Yeah, I'm just freezing to death.
Oh, I love it.
This cold.
I love it.
Don't.
Did you see
Sorry,
my
Steve.
meme I made?
Yes.
Your winter. Be winter.
Like, look, the hard freeze makes it a little hard for my work because I got mechanical equipment that's getting frozen. But other than that, I love it. I welcome. It's like an old friend. Come on in. Stay a while. Stay a while.
Stay a while.
The weather today was perfect. That's how I like it.
It was good today. It was a perfect day.
30 degrees, 20 degrees stuff.
I agree.
No.
I agree. Well, it was pretty cold this morning. What time did you get up?
Well, I got up at like 8 or something.
8 or?
It was pretty cold at 5. Anyway, so we're gonna start off with our. We're gonna do it like this. We're gonna do our top 5 through 2. We're only gonna do top 5. It's hard enough to narrow it down to 10, but narrowing it down to 5, we really had to chew down to the bone what games we enjoyed more than others.
This was hard.
It was very hard. So if I go first, I'm gonna say my 5 through 2. Then I'm gonna save my number 1 for later, and then we're all gonna do our number 1s at the same time.
Correct.
So. Who wants to... And also, we're going to be doing some miscellaneous stuff.
We're going to be doing karate.
We're going to be doing some miscellaneous stuff.
Some Cuphead.
Let's get down to business.
We're going to be doing some our most disappointing games. All that stuff we're going to do after
miscellaneous
our number
categories.
ones.
And even our 6 through 10.
Correct. And we're also going to be reading some of our user submissions.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
But without further ado, who wants to go first?
Ooh.
Who wants to go first with their 5 through 2?
Rock, paper, scissors,
so whoever starts talking is gonna be talking for a while. So, and we're not gonna be interrupting each other. We're really gonna be deliberating here. Who wants to go first?
I don't know. Why are you both looking at me?
I'll go first.
All right.
Okay.
Good, because I didn't want to go first.
All right. So my number 5 was the hardest spot actually. It came down to 2 games, and I'll tell you what they are: Sonic Mania and Friday the 13th. That's why I was asking you guys about it. That was number 5 and number 6. I really wanted to put them on the same spot, but let me start with the number 5 pick is Friday the 13th. That's what I went with, and I'll explain why. Sonic Mania, it's everything I expected it to be, and it did everything I wanted. It just did not. It did exceed my expectations, but it's everything I wanted it to be. A little bit more, but it was short. It was sweet. That's how I wanted it to be. It's a Sonic game. It didn't really do anything outside the bounds of being a classic Sonic game and being probably the best one there is. Whereas Friday the 13th did a lot of really cool things that were brand new. I haven't seen in games before. And I continuously am going back to Friday the 13th and playing it. It is multiplayer only, and now there is an offline mode as well. But the problem with it is that it's broken, and you can kind of attest to this where we've talked about it on the show before, where we'll go into a match and we can't play because the host leaves. There's no dedicated servers. We'll get shut out. We can't finish the match. Someone's getting mad as Jason. They can't finish the game. They leave and we can't play anymore. But I feel like the problems other than that with its design is the goals with like unlocks are a little long-winded. For example, some of the Jasons that you can unlock are kind of unrealistic. One of them's like level 40 something. I've been playing that game probably more than I thought I would be, and I'm only level like 29, and that was with double XP weeks. Other than that, I really enjoyed it. Of course, I kind of have a little bias on this one because I saw the guys at PAX South, and I saw what they were doing, and I got to meet Adam Sandler there. But I really wanted this game, and it's a love letter to that franchise. It does it so well done with like the fact that all the cabin doors are red, because in the movies they were red because of lighting effects. Like they didn't have enough money for lighting, so they painted the doors red, and they used bright colors in everyone's clothing so they could be seen. It's little tiny details like that they do really, really well. So Friday the 13th, yeah, I'm surprised it made my list that high up, just because I get so frustrated with it, and I'm like, I just don't want to play this anymore. But whenever it works, it's some of the most unique gameplay experiences I've had this year. For example, one time me and Seth were playing. I was playing as like his bodyguard. I was playing as the athletic dude, and he was the chick or someone who had the repair skill but wasn't very good at running or fending for herself. And then I died protecting him, and he was going to get out. The cops were going to be there in like a minute and 30 seconds. I came back as Tommy Jarvis because we called for the CB radio, and whenever you come back, it's kind of your goal to save everyone else. And when I went back, I was able to save Seth, and we both ended up getting out. And if I wouldn't have went back to save him, he wasn't going to get out, because as I pulled up to the cabin, I ran up, and Jason was just breaking the door down and about to get in and get Seth, and I shot and missed, but I ended up hitting him with something, and I let him grab me, and I had a pocket knife. And so just experiences like that is what made that game really dynamic.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If, let's say, the matchmaking did work, do you think it would be higher? No, we haven't heard your four
I don't think so.
Yet.
I think I would leave it. I'm just kind of pretending like it works every time.
Okay.
Because after you hear my
Okay.
4 through 2, you'll understand.
Mm-hmm.
But if it worked, it wouldn't have been a question between Sonic Mania and Friday the 13th. So that I think that's really all I need to say about it, because I think we talked about it a lot recently. Number 4 is a game I didn't really get to talk about. Number 4
I'm excited.
is Resident Evil 7.
Ooh, nice.
And that's a game that I didn't... The more I restructure my list, the more it moved up. And let me tell you why it's number 4. Firstly, that game is fully playable from start to finish in VR. And I wanted some VR representation on this list. And the cool thing is that it's one of the only games that... Not only is it fully playable, but it's done well in VR. Probably one of the best VR games on PSVR right now. I think it's only on PSVR. I don't think you can play it on like PC or anything. But I love the direction that they took Resident Evil in this game. I'm not the biggest fan of first person, seeing as the last first person Resident Evil game was not good. Resident Evil Dead Aim, not a good game. But it works, and especially because it's kind of in the vein of that PT style that we all love so much. And but it has all those old Resident Evil elements, like you can't get through this door because you don't have the Scorpion key, or you don't have the flamethrower fuel that you need. And the fact that it's in Louisiana makes it kind of gives brownie points for me, because with my line of work, sometimes I go into old abandoned buildings, and now I think twice when I'm walking around, because I'm like, this looks like the baker's house. This looks like the baker's house.
And Jack Baker.
My biggest problem with it, though, is that I love the first half of the game, being in this haunted house and finding all this nasty food, and it's gross, and I can almost smell and taste the nasty stuff in VR. But that's only the first half. The first half is all like, once you get past that second half and you leave the house and you go to the mild spoiler alert. I probably should have said at the top that we will be spoiling games in this, so it kind of self-explanatory. But whenever you go to the tanker ship and then you go to the salt mines and all that, and eventually it leads you back to the house, all that stuff just didn't have that cat and mouse gameplay where I just felt uneasy and anxious because I didn't know where Jack Baker was. In those parts of the games, or I didn't know where Marguerite. I didn't know where Marguerite was. So like, and that's the kind of stuff that makes it more unsettling, because you're just like, I don't know where these people are. But in those other parts, there is none of that. It's just kind of go here, shoot these bad guys, shoot the moldy bad guys, and then it kind of gets more in the supernatural. Yeah, the molders or whatever, and it kind of gets more in that supernatural element, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. And I haven't played any of the DLC, and they have new stuff like the Not a Hero DLC all came out. I haven't touched any of that, so I'm all going off the base game here. But I love the new direction. I think if there's any complaints other than that, maybe it was a little short. But I just love how it also had all those throwbacks to old school Resident Evil, the sound effects on the keypads, or the menu sounds and stuff. But really good game, and like I said, VR. I had to get some VR. Is there anything else I need to say about that? I don't really think so. So yeah, I guess I'll go to number 3. Number 3 is going to be a huge surprise, because I did not expect number 3 shot up from like...
Oh wait, I think I know.
It's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
Number 3 is Horizon Zero Dawn. If you go back and listen to one of our episodes, I had played it and I was not getting into it.
I think it was the last episode.
Was it? I just wasn't getting into it. I don't know why. Maybe I just didn't give enough time. I had played it for like maybe 3 or 4 hours. I was like, I can't get into it. Once I started leveling up and getting these new skills, being able to hit a robot with a melee, and instead of doing nothing, it knocks him over and hitting him with critical strikes and stuff. That's when the game really opened up and turned almost phenomenal. Because at first I just felt so weak. I was like, am I not getting something?
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the game very well. But once I figured it out, I got a gameplay style that I liked, which was a stealth combat hybrid.
Sure.
Getting these new weapons that do tearaway damage, killing the robots, and aiming specifically for specific spots to reveal hidden points. Weak points, kill them, take their components and be able to craft things that I couldn't do at the time. Setting up traps before they get there. It's something that the combat... a lot of people compare this game to Zelda because they both came out around the same time. They're both open world, both kind of post-apocalyptic, futuristic, but in the past at the same time gameplay. A lot of similarities, but if there's one thing that Horizon actually I feel does better than Zelda, it's the combat. Fighting these different creatures, you really have to strategize how you go about these different creatures. It's like if you're fighting a Thunderjaw, you're going way different than fighting a Broadhead. A Broadhead you could probably one-shot with a stealth kill. Thunderjaw, no. That's like the big bad boss T-Rex with a machine gun chin.
Oh, good God almighty.
I haven't met him yet.
Some of the combat experiences I had, I enjoyed a little bit more as far as difficulty for Zelda, and I'll talk about Zelda possibly later in the list, I don't know. But Horizon also has that narrative. And I love Zelda to death as well, but that narrative in Horizon was absolutely phenomenal. I was not expecting it. I kind of had my guesses as to what was going on, and some of my guesses were correct, but never before. That world that they live in, where it's almost like savage, like tribes and stuff living amongst robotic creatures.
It's in the future, in the past.
It's in a post-apocalyptic future where these people are living like savages almost, and there's different tribes and stuff. Yeah. And they're, there's outcasts, and they believe in these religions that make no sense.
American.
And Aloy, as a character, is learning about all this stuff, and she's like, "These people are so stupid. I don't understand." And like, because they like praise the sun, it has blessed us, and you're the chosen one. The mother of the mountain has spoken, and the mother of the mountain's really a computer system inside of a bunker. Well. Slightly, you already know this. You already know this. I'm not gonna go any further because I don't. Even if I had the chance to spoil it, I wouldn't want to spoil it. But the narrative is so well done, and the world is so open and packed full of things to do. There's hunting grounds and side quests galore, and there's New Game Plus. So if you're done and you're level 50 and you want to play it all again, you can. New difficulties to play on, and there's DLC.
Yeah.
But if there's my complaints, I know I've been chatting it up all the good stuff, but my biggest complaint is it does all these things, and it does it exceptionally, but it doesn't do anything that stands out that I'm just like, other than the narrative and the universe it's in, there's no like, just wow, I can't believe that just happened. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I killed that. That's to be expected. Everything I just kind of, it does everything, does it all perfectly. It just doesn't do anything unique about it, and which is kind of like, I don't know, something like the Nemesis system in Shadow of War. That's what made that game. And Horizon doesn't have anything like that. It's just kind of like, I've played stealth elements before with bow and arrows and games like Thief and Zelda.
Tomb Raider.
It's almost like a Far Cry game because you go to the Tall Neck, reveal all the stuff, see all the stuff, go do all the things, level up, get the different skill points, go to the different tree branches. It's almost like a Far Cry game, but done well. And that's really all I can say about it. I don't want to spoil the story. But Aloy as a character, really good. At first I was kind of like, this girl's a punk. But by the end I'm just like, yes, don't mess with me, I'm Aloy. She's awesome. And to see how she grows as a character, because she's very naive about some things, but she starts to learn. And you get to choose different dialogue options.
Yeah.
And there's one part, oh, so good. The last part, I'm not gonna say it. I chose a certain thing, and I don't know what the other two options are, but I'm glad I chose what I did because she was just awesome character. So Horizon Zero Dawn is my number 3. Let me take a swig of water because I'm getting cotton mouth over here. So my number 2 and number 1 were highly contested, and I think we all know what they are.
Mm-hmm. Do you still not know?
Number 2 is Super Mario Odyssey. We kind of talked about it before. It's just borderline a perfect game. I really can't say much that I haven't already said.
Yeah.
It's Mario in the vein of Mario 64 and Sunshine. You've got all these different kingdoms. All of them felt inspired and fun. The music's good. The graphics are good. The presentation's good. It's the same old like Bowser stole Peach, blah blah, I'm going to get her. But the controls are absolutely phenomenal, perfect, sublime. I never had any issues with controls. Anything that happened, if I died, it was my fault. I couldn't blame the game for anything. I just felt like the moons were just always and you know, I could jump another couple feet and find a way to get a moon. There's always something to do. It was just a more concise, better built experience than a lot of larger games that are more sparse and not as, you know, condensed as Mario Odyssey. The little outfits, everything just felt so inspired and handcrafted, like this amazing experience. Like all the different outfits had little like secrets about them, like the golf outfit was from a certain game. His chef's outfit was from Yoshi's Cookie. Dr. Mario's in there. Mm-hmm. All those different games inspired all those different costumes, and you haven't finished it, have you? Mm-hmm. Mild spoiler alert, I'm not going to say anything, but there is homage to just Mario 64 galore, and they did it so well. I don't want to say anything to run it. The captures, throwing your hat on these little creatures, a Goomba. Yeah, I never wanted to play as a Goomba before, but I played this, I'm like, wow, that was probably one of my favorite captures. I never thought I wanted to be stacking Goombas as much as I stacked Goombas. Or like, whenever I find the gliding guy, you know, the paragliding guy, I would throw my hat on him and glide down, like, haha, you climbed that top of that mountain, and I glided down, not you. But I'd always glide, and every time I saw him, it was like seeing an old friend in a level. And being able to play music from other levels while I'm playing other levels, and it's just so well done. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but the ending is so well done. There's actually a song that plays in the end that's very well done as well. And then I really don't have much bad to say, except the challenge level was a little low for me. I breezed through that game like it was nothing. And I know I'm a veteran. I played all the Mario games. But other than the very last level, the very last secret challenge, I didn't struggle at all. And not that I want to struggle playing this game, but I also don't want to just walk through the park with it. And that kind of lowers it on my scale a little bit, because I wanted more. Instead of, you know, going back and visiting the old worlds, which was fun enough. Some worlds were kind of hit or miss for me as well. Like Fossil Falls was kind of okay. The Wooded Kingdom was really cool. The Luncheon Kingdom was really cool. Metro Kingdom was probably the best one, but then like they had some of them like
the beach one.
The beach one, I liked the beach one. It was okay, but it just wasn't. Yeah, the water one, and the lake one. The snow one was okay. It left a little bit more to be desired in the department of like boss fights and just challenges. But I'm still discovering things in that game. Like, I fell down a hole, and I didn't realize that it was a whole other area of a level that I hadn't explored. Right, and then after you finish the game, there's just more to do. And then those secret areas that open up are a little bit more challenging, but still not on the level that I was hoping to see. I'm not expecting them to put, you know, like, Dark Souls level Mario stuff in here. But I wanted more of that last level, where it was just like, when I was done, I was like, I'm the king, I'm the best, I love this game, you know. Instead, it's just kind of like, yeah, I got the moon, let's moving on. But yeah, very well done. And I don't know if anyone got to, I know you probably did, what's his name, the little Pokio, the little bird with the pokey nose that you poke in the wall and you boing up, you know what I'm talking about, in that one level? Which that level was okay, by the way. The design was just kind of weird. You haven't been to it yet.
I really liked it.
It was good, but that one capture is really fun, and being able to do the different, getting moons in ways that you might not have been intended to get them, like when I was talking about that one that was in between two buildings, I just jumped off the highest point in the game and just fell onto it. Stuff like that made it really fun. But I think that's all I can really say off the top of my head. about Mario Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I just want more of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll save my number 1 for later.
Sure. All right.
Who would like to go next? Actually, Steve, why don't you read us off one of our
Yeah,
users
let's take a
submitted-
break.
Yeah. So so like we said, we asked for some user submissions, and
Big drink.
we got some good
Oh yeah.
some good participation. So one of my buddies, Steven Schneider, says, in his opinion, for Game of the Year, nothing has touched Breath of the Wild. He said nothing has even come close to beating Breath of the Wild. There are a lot of people who agree with that. A lot of people. I got another one from one of my old buddies. This guy, I know this guy since elementary school, Bill Blackford. He hasn't played it yet, but he would probably go with PlayerUnknown's Battleground because of how popular it is. How
A lot of people-
surpassed.
Mm-hmm.
It surpassed Overwatch as the most streamed game out there.
Really?
I mean, really, it's fun to
Wow,
watch.
I
It
know
really
that.
is fun to watch people play it. I think it's going to make a good esports title.
I can see that.
eventually.
Sure.
I think it'll be really cool to watch. And then Zach, my friend Zach Bazeron, one of my old buddies, bandmates together. He was a really good friend in the Metal Steve days. He fired off a lot of games that he liked.
He played way more than all of us.
I know, good lord. I couldn't keep up. Like, I wish I'd have played as much as he did. But I mean, it just goes to show the amount of competition that we had this year as far as Game of the Year. But his Game of the Year, he said it had to be Knack 2.
Okay.
Knack 2?
Knack 2.
2,
Is he being serious?
I guess.
Oh,
what
yeah,
he
I'm not
said.
making fun, but he's.
I
Was it-
don't
wait,
even
was
know
he-
what Knack 2 is, so...
I don't know. He might be pulling your leg.
He might have
He
been
might be.
joking.
He might.
At the end, he
He's
said
pulling a
Knack
Stephen
2.
Martin on you.
I think he's.
He's probably joking.
I think he's pulling your leg.
He's probably joking. I don't know. I'll have to confirm
Knack
that with
2's
him.
alright.
What is Knack 2? I don't even know what it
It's
is.
the sequel to Knack 1.
Okay?
Next,
I don't
it's
know
like
that
a little
much
like
about it.
character adventure. I'll show you later.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he's pulling your legs.
Probably so. That's just what he said at the end. He said, I gotta go with Knack 2. He could have been just joking, but anyway. So that's the 3 that I have. Do we want to do any more? Or we want to save it for in between?
I have a few more, but I can save them for our transition.
Yeah, someone else go.
Yeah.
Who wants to go?
I'll go if you're not.
Yeah, go ahead, go.
Alright, I'll go.
Steve,
So-
hit us with your 5 through.
So let me tell
2.
you something about my top 5. My top 5 has changed so much throughout this entire week. And up until like 5 minutes ago, it was up in the air. But now, like literally 5 minutes ago. So now I think I have it down pat the way that I want it to be. So to begin, my 5th best game this year, I'd have to go with Cuphead. Now, I only have a very limited experience with Cuphead, but when I tell you that is probably one of the more enjoyable game experiences that I've had in a long time, with that type of game, I mean it. I mean, I played through the first level, and let me tell you something, it's no walk in the park. You might think of it as a pro, you might think of it as a con, it doesn't, that's really up to the beholder, I guess you could say. But what I really enjoyed about it was just the art style, just that 1930s, 40s, 50s style Disney art style, with the music to match that era. Oh man, the music is just incredible. The characters and everything. It's even got a decent story too. I mean, you know, you gotta go save your soul by collecting the debts of the devil. You know, so I mean, but I mean, gosh, when you want to talk about like, I don't even know what's the better tribute of this game. Is the better tribute to the old-fashioned platformers and shoot-'em-ups better, or is it the tribute to the Disney-style cartoon art style that it comes up with and the music and that era? Like that game is just one big tribute that, in my opinion, is just so fantastically done from ground up. I mean, it's hard for me to find any major flaws in it, and the only reason it's number 5 is just because I just feel like I enjoyed the other games more, and it was difficult for me, but I mean, I'm not very good at those types of platforms anyway.
We can try co-op later.
I'm just not very good.
I'll help you.
Not very good at those type of games, but I still have fun with them, and this is the thing that really got me. When I lost, I wasn't like fuming. Like playing through other games, whenever I keep losing at something that's so mind-numbingly difficult, I just get so frustrated. But like, whenever I die, it's like, oh, I get to do the level again. And like, doing the level over again is kind of enjoyable because of the music and the art style. So it's
Learning
not so bad.
that
And you're just learning. The point of that game is that you learn and you adapt to your surroundings. It's trial and error. So losing is kind of part of the game. You know, that's really what I enjoyed about it. You know, it's like, yeah, you lost, you may have died, you have to start all over, but like that's how you gotta adapt. You gotta adapt how you approach the game, and I really enjoyed that. All in all, it's just an enjoyable experience. Now, number four was higher on this list for me.
Yeah, I don't know yours, man. So I'm excited.
Okay, that's
I'm
okay.
excited to dig in.
It's up in the air for me.
Number 4 on this list was higher up until 5 minutes ago. Literally 5 minutes ago. It's just, like I said, my top 5 has just been, oh man, all the time.
Sure.
And then out of nowhere, you know, you got these games that come in and it's just like, wait, where am I going to put this game, you know? So, number 4, I have to say, is Ukulele. Ukulele was much higher. Thank you, Jacob, for that. That was awesome.
Came out of his brain too a little
Let
bit.
me tell you why Ukulele is number 4. Ukulele is one big love letter to Banjo-Kazooie. It is what Banjo-Kazooie is supposed to be. I mean, it is literally Banjo-Kazooie with different characters. I mean, if you would replace Yuka and Laylee with Banjo-Kazooie, it would feel no different. Absolutely, like no different. And it's such a nostalgia trip. I mean, you're just going through the music, the level design, the gameplay. All of that is based heavily off of Banjo-Kazooie.
Grant Kirkhope did the music. He also did Banjo's music.
I mean, just you gotta it just goes to show you that this is what the people want. You know, I mean, it just goes to show you that like if you need something done right. You know, sometimes you gotta trust other people to do it. Now, granted, these are the original people that played Banjo-Kazooie, but the current holders of the intellectual property rights to Banjo-Kazooie are not doing anything with it. So here comes the old Banjo-Kazooie team, like, alright.
Platonic.
They are now Platonic. They reformed that company to make this game. But I mean, it's literally what any Banjo-Kazooie fan wants. Now, granted, there's a lot of people that complain about it being a big collectible thing, and I guess people don't like that, which I don't know why people don't like that, but you know, whatever. Then that means that you don't like Banjo-Kazooie back then, so don't play it. But I mean, if you did like Banjo-Kazooie, then my God, you need to get on this game immediately.
Yeah.
I was just blown away. This in fact, this is my biggest surprise. This was my biggest surprise, that it was so amazing for me that it was like playing Banjo 3. It's like we finally got Banjo 3. Because, you know, we were supposed to get Banjo 3 for the GameCube, but with the whole Microsoft thing, Microsoft's like, let's take Banjo and put Cars. Okay. But you know... It's what Banjo-Kazooie is supposed to be. So maybe, hopefully, if Rare's like sitting there in the background talking about, okay, maybe we need to do that, then, you know, maybe they might buy some respect back from me. But, I mean, here's the thing about it, and it's not fair to Ukulele because this is not their fault. But the entire time I was playing this, I was like, man, I wanted it to be Banjo-Kazooie. Like... When you go through a level and they walk out of the hole, or like whenever you go through like a threshold that opens up into a new level or something, like a door or something, the Banjo-Kazooie games, whenever you walked out of the other side of that door, like when you walk into the door, it zooms in and it kind of like what do you call that?
It's like a fade.
Like a fade, but it
goes. It's in the shape,
it does that.
It's in the shape of a jigsaw, and then when you come out, it goes.
Well, this time it's in the shape of Yuka and Laylee, like their faces, you know?
Okay.
And it goes, boo, just like Banjo-Kazooie. And like, there's always that little part of me that's like,
hoping you can see
hoping Banjo-Kazooie comes out of that door and it's Yuka and Laylee. Not saying that Yuka and Laylee's a bad character by any means, because if it would have started off as Yuka and Laylee would have that special place in my heart. But it was Banjo-Kazooie that started. Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
This game actually got some negative press only because they're like, this game has, you know, it's outdated. Its design is outdated, but that was the point.
That was literally the point.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous
it didn't,
too.
it didn't get the rep it deserved.
It shouldn't. Exactly. I mean, people were just like, this game's outdated. It's like, that's the point. And when I tell you that the humor was like, it's like the humor was so on point with a Banjo-Kazooie game. I mean, they broke the fourth wall, and they broke the fourth wall well. I mean, there's this guy, there's this character in the game. His name is Kartos. He's a minecart. He's called Kartos. And you know what LiL says? Like, LiL says, let me guess, you're the god of ore. That's Banjo-Kazooie humor all the way.
Did you see Shovel Knight in there yet?
No, I haven't.
He's in there.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see it. I can't. Just the references, man. The references to real life. The references
Innuendos.
to video games. The innuendos.
Trouser snake.
Yeah, Trousers. The guy that you get your moves from, his name is Trousers. He's a snake. He's a trouser snake. Get it? But I mean,
It's a good game.
oh, so good.
I would love to put it on mine as well.
So good. I mean, I just the entire time I'm just
Sorry.
I've enjoyed this game for its fullest. The only con that I have to say about it is the fact that it's not Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with Yuka and Laylee. It's just that this is what Banjo-Kazooie should be. Playtonic should be with Rare. Rare should be a third party or Nintendo second party. Preferably a third party, and they should be making a Banjo-Kazooie game.
And it's coming to the Switch.
And it's coming to the Switch.
Hallelujah.
I mean,
I
this
recommend
game
you get that.
I am.
absolutely.
So I'm sitting on Steve's e-card.
You want to know
eShop.
my you want to know my final review for it? My final words? Absolutely amazing.
Good.
Double A.
A double A experience.
The double A experience. Number 3. Now,
Okay.
I had this is where my list came in and changed literally 10 minutes ago. I had my list set when I came here, so I thought. And I was like, man, this is my list. I'm going with it. I'm rolling with it. This is my
You
list.
checking it twice?
I'm checking it twice, and I'm going to find out if it's naughty or nice.
Number 3.
Anyway. Sorry, Brandon. Jacob messed me up.
Sorry, man.
I'm just kidding.
Quit
I'm just
distracting him.
I'll
I'm just
shut
kidding.
up.
No, he's
He can't
fine.
Let him focus.
Anyway, so the only reason I forgot that my list changed is because I forgot this game came out in 2017. It came out so early in the year that it slipped my mind. You know, it's like I thought it was last year, but it was actually this year. It's Resident Evil 7.
That's your number 3?
That's my number 3. Resident Evil 7. And here's why. That game goes back. Not only does that game go back to Resident Evil survival horror roots, but it does so in a new and unique way. Although it's not, I guess it's not so unique considering what PT is.
New direction for the franchise.
New direction for the franchise, you know. And plus, it gave, like, if PT would have come out, that would probably have made my top 5 gaming of that year. But we were left wanting more with PT, and with the whole Hideo Kojima fiasco with Konami, we didn't get that. So Resident Evil jumped in and really gave us, not only did they give us that replacement, but they did give us a game that I felt was worthy of the recognition that Resident Evil has brought us so far. I mean, this is Resident Evil's second big change in direction as far as the way that they styled their games. But this time, even though they so dramatically changed their direction, it still went back to its roots. What made the original Resident Evil so good in Resident Evil 2 is the fact that it was so scary. It was just, you don't know what's lurking behind that corner. And while Resident Evil 4 did that so well, Resident Evil 5 and 6 kind of took away the suspense and the scariness and focused more so on the action that was involved. But the thing about Resident Evil 7 that I think it does better than any other Resident Evil in the franchise is the fact that you just don't know what's going to happen. Like Brandon was saying, every time you turn the corner is a mystery. When you turn that corner, it could be Jack Baker sitting there, I see you! or Marguerite with her roaches, her bugs, and stuff like that. And to be honest, I know Brandon said that halfway through, Brandon in his top 5 said that like halfway through it didn't feel like that survival horror anymore. You didn't have that antagonist chasing you like Brandon said, but I still felt like it was really, really good. And just, I gotta be honest with you, the fact that it was in Louisiana just made me so giddy. Whenever a game is in Louisiana, it just makes me so like it's happy. It's just like I know this, I'm familiar with this, and then the fact that it's like you're walking around this mansion this big old plantation house looking deal with these mad people that are seemingly invincible, chasing you, especially with Jack Baker. Like, look, Marguerite is creepy, but there ain't no character in that game scarier than Jack Baker.
Agreed.
Playing that game in VR for the first time, when he broke through that wall, thank God I didn't have anything in my bowels. I would have vacated my bowels immediately. That's how scary it was. And then and speaking on VR, you know, Brandon highlighted it, but you want to talk about a brand new experience, a survival horror experience, VR Resident Evil 7. I mean, just I played through the game normally, and I beat the game normally. But when I put that thing in VR, it was a brand new game. The only thing to me is that I could predict the things as they occurred. But the thing about Jack Baker is that he's so unpredictable, you don't know when he's going to do it. He broke through the wall on my first playthrough.
Never did it for you.
On the first, like he did it before the boss fight in the, before you fight him and you get the gun from the cop. But in VR mode, he didn't break it until after that fight. So I'm thinking that I'm safe. I'm thinking that I've finally got away from Jack Baker, and here he comes breaking through the wall, and I'm just like, Jack! Ah! But in all honesty, I mean, just, you gotta give them credit. I mean, they wanted to make a scary game. My God, they made a scary game. And then there's some references, like Brandon said, there's some references to the old games, like the dead body that pops up, that's floating in the water, that scares you, looks just like the first zombie you see in Resident Evil Remake.
Mm-hmm.
That zombie scared me.
And they took a chance with Resident Evil 7.
They did. They took a huge gamble, and in my opinion, it really paid off. Like, when you take such a drastic change like that, you risk ticking off your fan base. And there's a couple fanboys that were not so happy with the new change, but man, the gaming community as a whole loved it, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said it's number 3.
You remember on E3 when they revealed it?
Yeah.
And then we didn't know what this was, and then it said Resident Evil 7, and we were all like, ah! You remember that?
Mm-hmm. That
was a huge reveal, big surprise.
I love surprises like that. Like, I wish games did that more. Like, the Resident Evil 7 reveal.
I think
that's my number 3.
Yeah.
What do you have to say, Jacob? Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to chime in, but I was just saying, I think the franchise, I mean, it's Resident Evil 7. Look at all the games that are on their 7s and 8s and 9s.
If you played 6, you know why they went in a different direction.
And then you have just the atrocity that was 6, and like, where can you go from here? And I think they took a great directional turn.
I mean, they had lost their touch a little bit. They became Resident Evil Call of Duty, in my opinion. But anyway, number 2. My number 2 wasn't really difficult, like I would want it to be, like Brandon's and Jacob's might be, because
you know what it is.
I know what I knew what my number 1 was, like, way before we even thought about this, but like there was absolutely no question. To me, number 2 is like the hype for number 1, because everybody knows what my number 1 is going to be. I'm still going to save it for last because I like to do that. But my number 2 is Mario Odyssey. Had Mario Odyssey been on another year, it may have made number 1. But I mean, number 1 is so secure in my book, nothing's even going to come close to it. But why was Mario Odyssey so good? Well, Mario Odyssey was so good, Brandon and Jacob, because
oh, thanks. Explain.
because it was just good. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot I hated about it.
Steve quotes.
Thanks for tuning in the show.
All right, bye. See you later. But
I'm gonna make Steven quotes from now on. I'm gonna make a clip. I'm gonna cut that out and take it out of context, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the whole video. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So what made Mario Odyssey my top 2 game, and in some respects a top 1 game for some other people, is just the fact that it was just so well done. They went back to their roots. Going back to their roots. That's like the theme of my top 5. But you know, they brought back the good old 3D Marios. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, Super Mario Sunshine, absolutely amazing. But Mario 64, in my opinion, was my favorite 3D Mario until Mario Odyssey came along. It just felt like an adventure, and it's such a good family game that like my wife is like, I want to play.
Something for the kids.
Something for the kids, something for the adults, everybody. And if she struggles with it, guess what I can do? Pop off my other controller and play with her and play as the cat.
Joy-Con.
Yeah. Well, I meant pop it as a controller.
Snap.
Because I don't like the sideways Joy-Con too much. I like the,
it is kind of tough to get.
But anyways, so, but I mean, just everything about this game, just the fact that you're traveling from world to world to world to world to world, and not worlds, but kingdoms. It's like you're traversing the globe, and it's just the scenery is amazing. The Sand Kingdom is just awesome. The Sand Kingdom takes heavy influence, not just from Mexico, but also from Egypt. Like the two most popular desert areas. Like the Denzians of Tostarena, all Mexican. They look like the Day of the Dead faces that you see all around Mexico. And it's just like, I'm in a little Mexico, You get the sombrero and the poncho, And if only we could just get the maracas. Thank you. And it would just be... It would be the icing on the cake. But anyway, the fact that there's costumes for every world, like one of the first things that I try to do, what do I have to do to get the costume for that world? Because when I'm in that world, I want to wear that costume. And it's just, the callbacks to Mario 64 are phenomenal. I won't spoil them for you, but they just, oh man. It just took me back to my 5th birthday when I got my Nintendo 64 for my birthday. And I was playing Mario 64 for the first time. And I was like, oh my god, it's Mario in 3D, and it just brought me back to my childhood. I don't have a problem with it being as easy as it was, because of the fact that it was the audience that it was geared to.
Sure.
But they still had, those callbacks to, whenever it comes to stuff like that, whenever it comes to like difficulty levels. If it's gonna be, I want the difficulty levels to kind of balance off as to why it's as difficult as it is. If it gives, I prefer games to be more difficult. But if it's gonna be easier, I want to have it to be a good reason why, to kind of balance out the negative aspect of it being too easy. And for me, the way that they balance it out is like, yes, we made it easy so that everybody can play it, but the way that we targeted the older audiences was all the callbacks to Super Mario 64, and I think that balances out the fact that it was too easy for me. And then, although for the most part it was easy, the fact that you only had 3 pieces of health kind of added some difficulty to it, because when you go back to 64 and Sunshine, you had a whole bunch of health to work with, but you also had lives. You don't have lives anymore. So, in my opinion, I think it kind of balances itself out for me. And just like Brandon said, the fact that you could capture anything. I didn't even capture the T-Rex my first playthrough. I didn't capture the T-Rex for the first time until after I beat Bowser.
Dumbo.
And then I went back and I had captured that T-Rex and I was just like, y'all, rest in peace everything in this game, because I'm just about to annihilate everything. And then the fact, man, the most impressive thing about this game that would have made it Game of the Year for any other year for me was the fact that when you finished it, you weren't done. When you finished the story, or at least I think the story's done, maybe it's not, I don't know, I gotta finish, I gotta keep going. There's still much more to do, and you unlock even more to do. You go and you hit these little box things that give you more moons, that unlock more moons for you to collect in each kingdom. And it's just like, oh my god, it's like a new game all over again, And it's just, man, I gotta give my hats off to Nintendo. They put out some great games.
Cappy! That was an unintentional pun, and it was good.
But I mean, I gotta give my hats off to them. They did such a great job this year between the Switch and Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, like all the games. Like, good job, Nintendo. And that is my 5 through 2.
5 through 2.
5 through 2. So, y'all want to read out some more friends?
Yeah, I got more friends.
Go ahead, Jacob. You can go with yours.
Okay. Friend of the show, Delaria Smith, one of my instructors. I did try to do more of a personal shout out than just on the actual page for me. He said, and this is one I forgot about, number 5 for Honor. Most interesting concept, and it was new. And he kind of gave little explanations for each one. Number 4, Injustice 2 for the best fighter. Number 4.
That's a really good game.
It is a good game.
You might hear about that a little bit later.
Okay.
For me.
Number 3, another one I keep forgetting about, Middle Earth: Shadow of War. He said the best follow-up to a failed start. That's what he said for his number 3.
Ooh,
Number
Seth might
2,
disagree.
PUBG. He says ground layer, so I don't know what that means other than maybe like just setting a foundation maybe for, I guess, Battle Royale modes maybe.
Yeah, maybe so.
And then number 1, Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is one that kind of slipped under everyone's radar, I think, here.
I really wanted to play that
yeah,
game, but
exactly. We all played the beta.
not enough time.
Yeah, I know. Good follow-through, rough beginning, but a great ending. So, thank you, Delario. I also have a friend of the show, and a friend in real life, Nicholas Zyhowski, our friend Nick.
Yeah, let's hear his.
So, I gotta find it. It's on Messenger. Oh, there it is. Alright, so it says favorites in order: Fortnite, Horizon, Destiny 2, Shadow of War. I said I played some sports games earlier this year, but these other games I just listed took the bulk of my time. As far as my least favorite, I don't think I have bought a game this year that I did not like, which is a
Ooh.
good statement because 2017 was pretty sexy.
It was a hard year. It was a hard year to come up with a top 5 for games.
As long as you didn't,
Yeah.
as long as you didn't buy Battlefront 2, and you're good.
He said, I now that I think back, I know Battlefield came very late, and I'm assuming he's thinking I'm talking about Battlefield 1, but Battlefield came late 2016, but I believe that would have made my list top 5 easy if it was for 17. And then a couple other guys, they're just little squirters from the last post that I made. And that is a parent of mine. He says Zelda Breath of the Wild for obvious reasons.
I have a pretty good feeling we'll hear about that.
Yeah, want to hear that a little later. My cousin Andrew Hassel. I had to think for a second and said HZD, and I was like, oh, duh, Horizon Zero Dawn. It was awesome.
Jeez, that game touched me. It touched me in a good way.
I was going to say, not like Michael Jackson touched you, but like,
but I enjoyed it
Okay.
in a good way.
but like Michael Jackson touched you. Anyways, and then Jesse, now we didn't say the criteria for what was supposed to be, but he said Mario Kart 8. Now Mario Kart
That's
8
fine.
was but man, that Ghost was added in there, so technically, I mean, I know.
Re-release. But,
Re-release, but still a
Yeah,
stupendous
yeah, we're not
game.
holding them to the same rules that we
And,
have. So
I mean, Mario
we'll-
Kart,
we'll-
man, if that
I'll
was an
allow it.
original one, like, bruh, that'd be on my top 5.
That was on my
So-
top 5 for the release year when it came out.
Yeah,
It came out last
absolutely.
year.
Yeah.
Or the year before.
Last year.
Okay, yeah.
Or,
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the
Mario,
Switch?
No,
Mario
no,
Kart
no, no,
8 in
the-
general. When
Oh,
did
okay.
that-
I'm assuming he's talking
Eh,
about
those
it
Deluxe.
was on my
I
top.
think that was 20.
It was at my top 5.
Yeah, 8, I'm not sure
regardless.
exactly
It's either
when 8 came
2016 or 2016
I'll Google
or
it.
17.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but I'm assuming he's talking about Deluxe, which came to the Switch this year. So thank you, Jesse Upchurch. I'm sorry, friend Jesse Upchurch, fellow indicator.
Thanks, Jesse.
So,
Nice.
all right, so I guess that's on to me
Let's
now.
go, Jacob. Let's hear
Your
it.
turn.
All right,
Drum roll.
so let me put this back up, my pen back on my my Note 8.
Boom.
So, all right, I'm gonna start off. I would like to start off with a disclaimer. We discussed that some of these games.
Hey, we were way off. It was in 2014.
8? Really?
Mario Kart 8 came out in
That's what
2014.
it said for Wii U.
For really?
That's what it says.
Holy
Yeah.
cow!
Wow.
Okay.
Jeez,
Wow.
never mind. We were way off. Anyway, continue.
But
Sorry.
I like to make a disclaimer. Number one, and I kind of Steve's probably can attest for this, and Brandon tried his best, but we're not IGN and we're not.
This is
Kotaku.
not what we think is the best game. This
Right.
is our favorite.
This is our favorite.
yourself. I think it's what's the best game.
And what
It could
we
be.
had our hands on as John Q Gamer, as a regular
This is
regular
normal
dude.
As a dude.
It's
Yeah.
not our job to play games.
Correct.
This is
If
our hobby.
only. Good
So
Lord.
if you're like, well, Nier didn't make it on the list. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sure it's a great game. We just didn't have the money, resources, time.
We're gonna,
sucks.
we're gonna talk about those games as well.
And we'll come back to that later. But I just want to make that disclaimer.
Act 2
but
is better than Nier.
starting off with my number 5. This 5 and 4 fought very hard. And because of the unique nature of 5, which you probably, Brandon, already know where I'm going with this, it's a very unique animal. I'm going to go ahead and say Fortnite.
Fortnite.
I would say if Fortnite was brushed, it was a finished quote-unquote game, because technically it's in early access right now. I think if there was some changes fixed to it, it possibly could make it to my top 3. Possibly. And that's a bold statement because it saves it. The reason that it made it to 5 is the saving grace is, of course, Battle Royale. Battle Royale mode is just fun as heck. It brings me back to my Delta Force roots days. If you've listened to any of the 2015 shows and these shows here, I have a roots in gaming and shooters, which you're going to see in this list is probably going to be kind of pretty obvious. But it brings back, and I've always quoted on those old episodes how much I hate the way the industry has gone to
Saturated,
small, uninspired, run and gun, run, die, respawn, run, die, respawn, run, die, respawn games. Delta Force 2 did that in a very slow, methodical way, and so Battle Royale brings that to life in a stylized environment, which is a gameplay style that I kind of like, with the kind of cartoony-looking characters. It's very strategic. It's right up my alley. My only gripe would be about the mode is that it has to be played in somewhat of a third-person mode, which is okay. I prefer first, but I love the fact that it's got a little bit of a Minecraft element that takes from the actual original Fortnite game, where you can build bases, unlike PUBG. The gunplay sometimes can be a little hit or miss, but because of, again, going back to the unique nature of the game, it is still in early access, and they have poured in a ton of resources. Hats off to Epic, as they are constantly, every time I log in, there seems like there's a new news feed. Hey, we're bringing this new mode. Hey, we're bringing this new weapon. Matter of fact, speaking of gaming news, with this game, since I'm on it, they're bringing a cozy fire that you can plop down, and your friends can all heal up very quickly as they gather around the fire. So they're constantly adding to it. However, because of that, point I'm making about how much they've added into Battle Royale, the original concept of Fortnite was brought up in 2015. We brought it up in an old show way back in like some early episodes.
We've been following it for a long time.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it kind of disappeared, and we were kind of worried what happened. It pops up, boom, here's Fortnite. The concept is great. It's a what would you call that? Kind of like orcs, kind of a trap dungeon.
Wave defense.
Wave defense, thank you. And it does it really well when you're partied up with people. The problem I have right now with it is the AIs are kind of uncontrolled, and so playing it solo becomes a little more, not so much hectic as in, man, I really love that difficulty. That was really fun. Like, this kind of sucks. And the other part of that is that I'll weigh a lot of the items in the game in the single-player narrative, which is called Save the World. So if you were to talk about the two options, Battle Royale, Save the World. Save the World is the original concept of Fortnite. It tends to hide a lot of stuff behind loot boxes and into the microtransaction world. I won't get into that because Steve, we all talked about that and made a great point about all of that last episode. So that's kind of almost like the anchor that's kind of dragging Fortnite down, I believe, right now. And I feel like they've diverted a lot of attention to Battle Royale and pulled it away from the original concept. And the original concept could be really fun if you guys had it. Like, if you guys had it, I think we would be playing it. I think you would enjoy it. Because like I said, when I play it with other randos, it's actually pretty fun. The problem is I'm having to play with randos because nobody owns it right now.
Nobody wants to. They want to play.
They want to play Battle Royale, right?
Which is free.
It's free. So that's where Fortnite stays at number 5. And like I said, 5 and 4 fought back and forth on this matter, and because of the issues I stated with 5, number 4 is Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
Surprisingly. And the reason I bring that up, Destiny kind of... Now, I'll go ahead and just start right off the bat with the things that I have a little gripe with. Destiny 2 kind of suffers from the same sickness that Destiny 1 suffered from, and that is MMOitis. That's a little phrase I like to call, is not figuring out what to do with the end game, creating a game where you have to building up levels, earning loot, and then get into an end game where either you have some kind of engaging story that you can repeat over and over, or it becomes a grind fest. And that was the problem with 1, and it still kind of seems to roll over into Destiny 2. That being said, I believe Destiny 2 took all the fat from 1, cut it off, threw it away, and did everything that Destiny 1 did and made it a lot better. I think they streamlined it. Did they bring anything crazy and new? No. They did bring a story that we understood somewhat, albeit maybe not the greatest story. It definitely wasn't The Last of Us.
Too little, too late.
But too little, too late. Correct. And that's, I guess, another gripe about it is that the only problem I have now is that I feel like they're kind of trying to follow the same model they did with the original Destiny, where they release expansions. Now, you get the Season Pass. Season Pass is a little cheaper. And the amount of stuff that they do give you in the Season Pass is great. I've looked at a lot of the items they've unlocked in the new expansions. The problem is they're doing some of the same mistakes they did from the first one, whereas they're giving you new modes you can do, like the Weekly Strike, which wasn't available in Vanilla Destiny 2. Now it's in the new expansion. However, if you don't own the expansion, you don't get to play the Weekly Strike. Now, I understand if you don't get the access to the items or the new map on Mercury. That comes with expansion. You got to pay for that. We've talked about that. Go back and listen to our DLP episode. That was episode 4, I believe. Anyways, Destiny 2, the reason I say Destiny 2 makes it and jumps over Fortnite, because I've been playing Fortnite almost religiously every night. The only reason I say that is because, unfortunately for me, Seth's been off of school, Nick's off out of work, and so I have people to play Fortnite with. I would actually play Destiny by myself. If there was a kind of a drought right now, I'd probably still be soloing Destiny on my own. I can probably play Destiny both in PvE and PvP by myself, whereas in Fortnite, I kind of tend to want to wait for friends. I can do solo mode in Battle Royale, but man, it's like Resident Evil intense. It's like blood pressure intense. Like it's pretty insane.
Chris Redfield punching a boulder in intense.
Yeah, so I tend not to play. I would tend not to play it if I didn't have the friends. Whereas in Destiny's case, I would tend to probably still play it. However, the reason I'm not playing it is we've been saturated with a bunch of good games right now that are going to be higher than this.
That's sidebar.
Sure.
This is kind of our problem, is that just so many good games.
Yes.
It's not that games are bad. It's just there's
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
like,
hard to
come on,
categorize them.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's really all I'm gonna say about that. Destiny 2, I love that game. I mean, I think they really refined what they did wrong in 1, but there's still somewhat, I think more so, maybe not so much with the game, but more with the actual method of marketing, which is the expansions and the season passes. I think they're kind of following the same mistake. So maybe if they can fix that in the future, we'll see.
Keep quality content coming.
Correct. Quality content. Yeah.
Quality.
Give the gamers maybe just something a little free, little free stuff.
And they also had some issues with some transparency with Bungie with the XP.
Oh yeah,
and
they
all
did.
that.
They
There's a lot of people falling off bandwagons, and they're playing a lot of damage control right now.
Yeah. So
I didn't hear about that.
my number 3 is going to be the same as Brandon's, and it probably won't talk very long because Brandon pretty much pulled my brain and spoke what I was going to say, but I'm going to say Horizon Zero Dawn. I'll say I was almost identical to Brandon. We both kind of played it. We put about, like you said, 3 to 4 hours into it, which 3 to 4 hours of gameplay is enough to get you through the tutorial, through the first mission where you kind of step out of your area that you've kind of been alienated in, and into the wild. And then we kind of touched base on the wild, and after that we kind of were like, oh, and then other games started coming out, and we were like, well, let's go play these things. And it's kind of funny because the story is, I think Sunday after our last episode, which was New Year's Eve, I was like, all right, let me finally buckle down, give Horizon a chance, because I want to put it in my 5, but I just don't know, I haven't played it enough, and I don't want to say that I want to put it in my 5, and I've only played about 4 hours of it. So I picked it back up, and man, I could not put it back down the rest of the night. And then the next day I get on, New Year's Day, and I see Brandon, and I was like, hey man, you playing Horizon? He's like, yeah, man, I picked it back up. And I was like, really?
So weird. At the same time, we weren't even talking about it, and we
No.
just both got stuck on it, man.
Yeah,
because I remember both of y'all were just disappointed with it last episode. Literally last episode.
It got to the point to where I literally had to just focus and mainline the main quest.
Yeah. And so what saves Horizon, what puts Horizon at number 3 is all the things that Brandon just said. But like when I picked it back up, there's been games in the past where this happened. And that's kind of my personal problem that I have as a gamer with single player. It's not so much with the single player problem, it's just me as an individual, how I play games. I'm more co-op heavy and multiplayer heavy, and so single player, I'll get a little bit into it, and then I'll put it down, and I never pick it back up.
Single player deficit disorder.
Yes! Yes, you just coined a phrase. So I was like, man, and I pick a game back up, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I'll fumble the controls a little bit because I'm not used to playing the control scheme for that particular game, and I'll put it back down, and then it collects dust. And it eventually goes back to GameStop. So I picked it back up thinking, okay, let me just push and just see what the story's about. But man, I found myself going, okay, I'll do a side quest.
Just one more.
Okay, one more side quest.
Some more.
Oh, I got some more points. Ooh, what do I want to put these points into?
The experience ticker is just...
Yes. And then you just start, and I didn't realize, when you come out of the wilds, you start unlocking hunting grounds. You start unlocking side quests. You start unlocking all the corruption zones.
Cauldrons.
And so there was still more stuff that I thought, okay, maybe I've got to the cusp of the edge of unlocking all these different things I can do in the wild. There was still stuff I hadn't unlocked yet, like you said, the cauldrons. And of course, obviously, the thing that everyone praises the game about is the story, which I have not personally finished. And you can gripe and say, well, if you didn't finish the game, then you can't give a review on it. Well, that's my opinion, so sorry. You just my opinion. But disclaimer for Jacob.
Yeah, one guy.
Yeah, one guy.
Yeah, one guy.
But that is my disclaimer for me personally. But man, like Brandon said, being able to the combat once you start getting a little further down those tiers and you start unlocking the abilities, like you said, to knock the dinosaur over. And that's exactly how I play. I play a stealth based. There was a really cool. I love that. There was a mode where and the humans, better yet, this is something you didn't touch on. Humans and dinosaurs, completely play different. Humans would play like you would think in any other co-op
communication.
Game. They communicate. They have an alert, and the dinosaurs somewhat do with the Watchers, but the dinosaurs are a whole new strategy. With the humans, I'll pick people off one at a time. Someone will go, "Hey, what's this? It's a dead body." Hey, what's this? It's another dead body. You know, that mode. With the dinosaur, it's like prepping and planning. Okay. Watchers here. I'm gonna put a trap over here. I'm gonna put my what's the sling? My not sling.
Blast sling.
The tripwire. Tripcaster.
Yeah.
Pink. All right. I'm ready to go. And then I'll
strategy,
engage. The strategy and prepping.
Like, hey, do I want to corrupt this Ravager? He can help.
He can help me. Yeah.
But it's not gonna last long. I'm gonna have to kill him at some point.
Exactly.
Do I even have the ability to do the corruption yet?
Right.
You know, it's all depending on how you took your playthrough. I mean, at the beginning, I didn't do cauldrons. Once I did cauldrons, I did them all at the same time.
Cauldrons, essentially, you go into, and it's basically a factory. It's very, very Matrixy, like where the robots were made in the Matrix.
They explain it all too.
Right. It's very. Anyways, but that's where they make these robots that are going off into the world. They mass produce them. So that's why you realize, like, man, I'm killing all these things. Where are these things coming from? They're coming from these cauldrons.
They're like bio-organic.
Yeah, and you can use your staff to engage I guess the mainframe or whatever. Override and learn how those machines operate
like. There's different access.
Tiers.
Sigma access, beta access, and all that.
Anyways. But yeah, like I was saying, the humans and the dinosaurs operate differently. And there was an approach I went to, and we were having to go. You probably remember that part is where you were following the war chief lady, Nora or whatever her name is, and you were having to take out the 3 listening posts before you engage the main base, which was cool because it was in a stadium. It was an old abandoned stadium, so they had walls up around their base.
Once again, that universe, that
so
world
great.
is.
Yeah, you really do not, and I'll come back to that because we get sidetracked with the art style, but there was a base, and so they have these things called, what's it called? What's the green stuff called? It's basically blaze, and they're harvesting this material that is explosive that powers the machines. And so when you're highlighting them and you're shooting them, you can see the blaze in different areas. I'm like, I could snipe this guy. Okay, in the eye hole. Okay, you know what? I can't let them get the alarm, because if it gets the alarm, it's going to tell all the other camps, and they're going to come and attack us. So I just shoot the blaze, and everybody's blowing up. Shoot that guy's tank, he's got blaze on him, and he's like, help me. Yeah, and then he blows up. Guy goes to the alarm, I take him out. And so it was just like, pick, and then everybody, and then all the Braves run in and go, oh, okay, good job, Aloy. I guess we'll clean it up from here, you know. So it just makes you feel like you said, like a BA. Yeah. But yeah, the art direction. There's so many times, because they call them the ruins. There's so many times I'm walking, and they do such an amazing job of, like, Last of Us does a good job of, like, seeing the world in a ruin where you can tell that nature's starting to take over. But this is, like, well into that point where nature is fully taken over. Yeah,
use your vantage points. Have you done a vantage point?
Yeah,
where it shows what it was.
And it's so cool. You'll be walking through and vaulting over these things and stuff, and you don't realize, you're looking, you go, whoa, it's a stoplight right there. I'm in an intersection. These were skyscrapers. I didn't even realize that because it's all so much overgrown and destroyed, and they do just a great job. I think the art direction is well underappreciated.
Yeah, once you figure out how far into the future you really are.
Oh, really? See, I haven't got to that point yet. So story-wise, and then there's the story and which I hadn't even gotten enough into it. I hadn't even got to Meridian yet. So yeah,
scratch the surface.
Good. Correct. And if it wasn't for 1 and 2, I think we can all agree 3 probably would be. If 1 and 2 didn't exist, I think 3 probably won for me.
Agreed.
So my number 2 is gonna be, you know it, Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Ooh.
And that was a hard decision, because I personally think I put more time into Zelda than I did my number 1. But Zelda just revolutionized the Zelda formula for a new generation and for old generation alike, I think. I think they did a perfect job of taking that old formula, like, well, you had the one tunic, you had the one outfit, basically, and you had your bomb, you had your sword, you had the boomerang, and it was all the formula that makes Zelda Zelda, but they've carried that formula for, like, decades now, and they needed to revolutionize it with the new armor sets, but they kept it at their Zelda roots. I think at the end of the day, it still never got too far out of whack that you're like, man, am I playing a Zelda game? You knew you were playing a Zelda game, but man, it just felt, it's a breath of fresh air.
Hey,
Puns.
a little jelly punch.
Puncho. And this is what I want to come back to. Both these number 1, number 2, and everyone's probably already guessed what number 1 is, but that's okay. We'll leave it anyways when we get to it. But I want to just go sidetrack from, and we already kind of praised it last episode, but the Switch, for me personally, has brought back Jacob's inner child, because I grew up on Nintendo. I grew up on the NES, like literally the year it released. That's how old I am. And then Super Nintendo. And then I played the 64 with friends, and then I veered into the PlayStation era, and then I veered off into the That's when the multiplayer Jacob came out. And I lost that love affair with Nintendo. I missed out on the GameCube. I missed out on the Wii. Yeah.
That's what you're used to. You're raised on games.
Yeah. And so I believe the Switch, with just this number 1, this number 2 with Zelda, and number 1 obviously, have brought that love affair back with Nintendo, to where I want to I'll be on the PlayStation going, whoop, whoop, going through the menu going, Switch, click, and then grab my controller.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that with the U. And I bought the U, and I didn't do that with the Wii. We would be more for when, I want to do something with Lou, or I want to do something with the family. Yeah. This brings back my inner child, but my inner child is now grown up, but he's still his inner child, but he's in a grown-up adult bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so Zelda did that. And,
it's good to let him out the cage every now
and then. Yeah. And Zelda did everything right. The open world. The problem I had, the gripe that I have, compared to and this is probably the reason that 1 jumps over Zelda here, is that the locales obviously did change. There was the snow areas, and there's the desert areas, but at the end of the day, a lot of those locales kind of became. And look, don't get me wrong, I loved exploring. Let's talk about Zelda's grip strength.
Link's.
I'm sorry.
Duh,
sorry. See,
on,
Link's
duh.
grip. I kept saying Zelda. I know.
Get
out! Mortal sin! Get out! Kill the non-believer. Shun the non-believer. No. Okay.
You must be punished.
Link's grip strength. But just being able to explore those areas, but about 4 to 5, hours into the gameplay, you climb up that mountain, you're like, it's another set of mountains and some trees over there in the background. I'm gonna go up, parachute over. So the exploration slowly for me started to descend a little bit, and the ooh and ah eventually never stopped, but it decreased with the vastness of the world. And I think it kind of was like a point you said earlier about the compactedness compared to the vastness. If that makes sense. So that was my problem. I did not finish the story, so I did not kill Ganon. I got 3 of the 4 divine beasts. But I need to probably go pick it back up. I do have DLC I know coming up. Like I said, the whole point I wanted to make about the inner child is my inner child is kind of like my gut feeling. A lot of times I follow that. And I feel like if number 1 comes out with DLC, I'll pick it up before I get Zelda DLC. And that might be maybe because I didn't have a strong roots in Zelda when I was growing up, and that nostalgia trip wasn't there. So it doesn't take away from Zelda. And I'm not going to explain very much more because you guys are going to hit every nail on the head with y'all's number 1. You going to grab it there?
Yeah, I'm just going to display it. Sorry, Steve, you're going to be blocked a little bit there. It's a huge box.
Look, there's your Steve head. You got to do that smile. But I don't want to go off on the pros because you guys are going to hit every pro that I'm going to miss, if not that I have.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
How do you know?
Sorry. So that's my number 2. I don't really need to say anything else, but...
Okay, well, since you're done with your number 2, I want to read off some more.
Oh, we have more.
I have a couple more. Seth actually sent us his.
Oh, finally, good.
Brave Young Seth, friend of the show. He says Evil Within 2 is his number 5. Call of Duty World War II, he's enjoying.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 is also his number 3. Mario Odyssey at number 2, and his number 1 is Shadow of War.
Ooh.
I have some more on here, but give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves real quick. I gotta find it.
So Jacob, how's your day?
It's been good.
I don't know what to talk about.
Okay.
I'm sorry I called
Zelda. My cousin Lil Max. Lil Max says Destiny, Fortnite, Gang Beasts, Rainbow Six, and Call of Duty World War II.
Okay.
I have
Rainbow Six was 2016.
My friend Hunter Esmond says Nier Automata is his number 1, which I really, really want to play.
I know. I've looked at it. I bought it a few times.
The story I hear is phenomenal, and my friend Tyler Sawyer, friend of the show, also sent in his. But Hunter says that Nier Automata, Cuphead, XCOM 2 expansion, Destiny 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Fractured Butthole, South Park.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But Nier is his number one. He wanted to make sure
Sure.
that was said. So Tyler sent me his...
Tyler Gray?
Tyler Gray Sawyer. Yakuza 0. He
He
talked
talked about it on the show, yeah.
Number 4 is Persona 5, which is also a game that I did not get
I can see
enough time.
Tyler. I can see Tyler definitely.
And I'm going to be talking
Loving
about
that
Persona 5 in a little bit. Super Mario Odyssey comes in as his number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Nier. I thought he was going to put number 1 as Nier. And his number 1 is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I thought his number 1 was going to be Nier.
It's Law as Breath of the Wild. It's
Lost.
the off-brand.
So, who wants to go through with their number 1? I'll go first. Thanks for asking. Steve, feel free to chime in, man. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Look.
Sorry. I didn't realize it was going to make that loud of a boom.
I tried to dethrone it. Okay, I've restructured my top 10 list time and time again, and every time I moved Breath of the Wild off of number 1 and I put something else like Mario in its place, it just didn't feel right. And let me start, Steve. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you do your thing too. But let me just kind of, I guess, pave the way here. That's fine. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, of course. I feel like this game was just made for me. I don't know why. It's like the original Zelda. Like I brought out earlier. You walk out of a cave and they just say, "Good luck."
There you go.
You know, you finish the plateau and
Slap you on the butt. There you go.
You finish the plateau, which is kind of your tutorial area,
Sure.
and it just says, "Figure it out." And there's let me boil it down to 2 words. There's 2 words that best describe this game, and I can't think of any way to make it more concise. The first word is discovery, because there is just so much to discover in the game, how the game works, what's going on in the game, the different types of enemies, the callbacks to old Zelda games, the dungeons, the castle, the weapons, how they work. And then that leads me to my number 2 word, the chemistry of this game. Everything in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has properties. Like, I don't even know if I can touch on all of it, but every single food item you pick up has a property. You cook something with a mighty banana, it might make it to where that food item you created makes you stronger. Or, you know, the weather in the game, there's cold areas where if you're not wearing the proper amount of gear, that all the clothing has properties. You know, the clothing might make it to where you're warmer and you can go into cold areas. But if you don't have that clothing, you can cook with spicy peppers, and that allows you to go into the cold areas because it gives you a frosty buff or buff, however way you want to look at it. All the weapons have properties. If you're walking in a thunderstorm, you don't want to have a metal weapon out, or armor. You want to change all that. And maybe you see a bad guy who does have a metal weapon, and you want to wait for lightning to strike that guy. There's just, everything has a chemical reaction to it, and I've never seen a game do that on such a scale like Zelda did. For example, like you said, you can climb any surface. Everything is interactable. You can chop down trees with swords and blades. You can change your combat style. There's a chemistry to the combat. For example, you don't have to just use a sword and shield. You can play the whole game and not use a shield. But if you use a shield, now you can parry with it. You can block things. You can deflect lasers that the Guardian should. You can deflect them back. You can use a one-handed sword so you can hold a shield. You can use a two-handed sword so it takes a little bit longer to swing that bad boy. When it hits. Or you can use a pole arm that gives you more reach, but it's going to take up 2 hands, so you can't use a shield. If you're using a shield, you can use it to surf down a hill, or you can use it to combine it with your glider. There's just, the game has, it's like you said, a breath of fresh air, but there are some downsides to it. For example, it does ditch a lot of the Zelda traditions, like you said before, and some people might not be for that. For example, having specific items for specific situations, such as a hook shot. You didn't have any of those old school traditional items, hook shots and fire rods, which they did have fire rods, but it wasn't a mainstay. Or you didn't have like your ocarina or anything like that. So they went away from that, and they kind of went with shrines, little tiny dungeons. I did personally feel like the 4 dungeons, they weren't bad. They just weren't something on the same caliber as the old dungeons or temples in the old games. The narrative not the best. I mean, it's pretty good for Zelda standards. It's good.
Yeah.
But if you didn't go and get the memories, you're really, and which is an optional thing, you're really missing out on a lot. But I did appreciate the fact that I woke up, I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what's going on, and I felt it motivated to figure it all out. And the fact that Ganon is this entity, he's just this foreboding entity. You can kind of take it one of two ways. I thought it was really cool because it's like, oh wow, this isn't just a dude I'm fighting. This is like pure evil. But at the same time, he really didn't.
Malice incarnate.
Yeah, he didn't really have that antagonistic feel where like Ganondorf was always showing up and just making you look like a little punk in front of your friends and antagonizing you. But it was really cool every blood moon to look up and see Ganon swirling around that castle. You're like, I gotta go kill this guy.
He's very foreboding.
But the biggest thing about this game that I absolutely love is, like I said, the chemistry and the properties of the world. Being able to approach everything so differently. I remember when we played this game, we all got it at the same time. And in the very beginning, I was like, man, I couldn't find any way to get the mountain, so I just cooked a meal with peppers, and I got up. And then Jacob's like, oh, I just used the coat. I'm like, I never found the coat. And then Steve, I don't know, you may have did it a different way.
Torch or something.
Yeah, I used a torch.
And being able to solve puzzles the way that they're not, particularly designed to be solved, you can kind of go about them different ways.
Sure.
Like, for example, there's this one dungeon where you had to work with electricity, but if you have enough metal weapons, you can make a circuit from one to the other and totally skip half the dungeon. And just the bringing back the classic bad guys, the Lionel. The very first time I saw a Lionel is just like, I can't tell you how many times I was playing this game that things would happen, and I would just be like, this just happened? Like, oh, you see a bad guy over there. Like, I'm gonna throw a bomb at him and blow him off that cliff. Throw the bomb, and the bokoblin kicks it back at you. You're like, no! Or how about one time whenever a Lizalfos threw his boomerang at me and I blocked it, I picked up, I was like, I got your weapon. I was like, threw it, and he just goes, and I was like, I had to pause the game and be like, did this just happen?
Is this real life?
Or the first time I saw the Lionel, he's just standing there looking ominous as heck. And then I was like, hey, he can't hit me from way over here. And he just goes, and I was like, he shoots arrows in the sky. I'm like, what's this idiot? And then I'm just like, I'm getting shot. And then because I got electrocuted, I dropped my weapon, Yeah. And how many times have you dropped a weapon and a bad guy came pick that up and was like, and he hits you? Or maybe you hit the bad guy and he dropped his weapon.
Yeah.
Or maybe you shoot a fire arrow and create an updraft to jump, and then you can get a bird's eye view, go into your slow motion with your bow and arrow and take people out. You can do it however you want. And like I was saying with Horizon, you can do that, but with Zelda, that next level was just brought up, Now, whenever you get later in the game, you do get a little powerful, I enjoyed the beginning of the game way more than I enjoyed, after I beat the game, I was just kind of getting shrined, because you can get a little overpowered in the game.
You're gonna like the DLC?
I will, actually. And I really want to get it. But, once you get, more than 12 to 15 hearts, and you have good armor and you have all the best stuff, it becomes, the challenge level goes way down unless you're at the castle fighting guardians nonstop. But in the beginning, I loved how the game was just handing my butt to me. I remember the first time I got into a fight, I was like, I'm gonna hit this guy with this club. He hit me first, I put up my shield, he hit me, and I got hit again, and I died, and I was like, whoa, and it said game over, and I was like, I really just died. Or the first time.
I really just died early in the Zelda game?
The first time.
Classic Zelda meme.
Right. How about the first time you got to a cliff? How about the first time you got to a cliff and you just kind of jumped down, you went, and you just died. Because we all did it. I know we all did. But I loved the sense of exploration, the discovery. Like I was saying, I felt like there was always, when I climbed a mountain, I know you said you kind of felt like there was a little bit of a vastness to it. I kind of felt like whenever I climbed a mountain and it started raining and I had to be strategic about how I was going to climb, I loved just how almost the adventure, the journey getting there was almost just as fun as whenever I got there. It was so much fun to do all that. Even with the stamina meter being what it was, I didn't have a problem with it. The Korok seeds, being able to find these things, there's always just, I feel like those things were just freaking everywhere. I have a rock in my hand, I'm like, what is this? And I see a hoop of rocks in the water, I'm like, and it goes, and then we get a Korok seed, and I feel like I was finding, and it was never a chore to find those things for me. I just felt like I always had enough seeds to get the next upgrade from the dude. Now, did I find them all? Heck no. There's just way too many.
Not gonna.
But I did just the dynamic events, the weather. Just being able to be like, well, I have this really good sword that's metal, but I can't use it because it's thundering right now, and I'm surrounded by bad guys. I have to adapt and overcome. I gotta... maybe I can throw that sword near someone and let it get struck by lightning. They get hit. I take it, put it back, and run off. It's just the dynamic of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible.
I agree.
And the two words, discovery and chemistry, is all I can boil it down to. I absolutely loved it, man. And I wanted... I say I wanted more, but geez, I must have played it 100+ hours. And the DLC, I want it. And the voice acting, there's voice acting in the game.
Yeah.
I personally like the story a lot. The only reason I say it's a little weaker is because it wasn't in your face. It wasn't like, hey, you finished a water temple, you got to go do this, and this is why. You kind of had to take it at your own pace. And if you have a problem with having your own sense of direction, sometimes you might not enjoy this as much as you would other Zelda games. Me personally, I mean, that's what I do for a living. I schedule things and I'm on time. That's what I do. That's why I like games like Dead Rising and this game, where it's just like, I know exactly what I want to do. And half the time, I just stumbled into places. Like, when I first started the game, I didn't even go to the dungeons first. I just went to... I just started going to all the different villages. I was like, oh man, I could really use that armor. That looks really cool. And the armor, the clothing... Being able to completely customize Link and so good. The fact that we had to dress up as a woman to get into the Gerudo place, that was incredible. I don't know if you did that. Sorry, spoiler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
But that was cool.
The Rito's on.
Yeah, dude. The dungeon with the Rito tribe when you're flying around with your boy, and the power ups, being able to use the flight thing. So good. I mean, I'm probably not even doing it justice as much as I said.
Can I say before Steve goes?
Sure.
The feels in those scenes though when they happen, when you see Mifa and like she's staring down at her dad from the Divine Beast and she can't do anything, or Daruk when
Daruk and his
ancestor, and he's
son?
like he's cheering. I'm like,
so cool.
A big old smile on my
feels
face.
And so I want to touch on the music. We kind of discussed it a little bit before the show. The new music didn't really like do anything, but it fit. The ambient music just sitting there, and you hear the wind, and you see
crickets.
You see the wind like going through the tall grass. You hear that little piano. It fits so well. Now, is it anything I'm going to be remembering and humming? It's not melodic. It's ambient and dynamic. But the songs, whenever you heard a song like the Dragon Roost song at the Rito tribe, oh my gosh, dude! Whenever you hear that. It's like but it's a slower version. It's not as like actiony. But I heard it and I felt it in the feels.
Steve,
and then the castle theme. Don't
talk about that too much because I want to talk about it.
I'll chime in whenever you talk about it. But anyway, like I said, I know I just talked like 30 minutes about it, but that probably still isn't doing it justice. That game, not only is that the best game this year, it's probably one of the best games that was ever created.
Ooh!
And I don't even gotta say maybe it is. I mean, I would not be surprised if future free roam open world games start taking notes from Zelda. Even like maybe Red Dead Redemption will take notes from this because it's just that good, man. It's just that good. I'm turning to Steve over here.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words with this game. Such a good game, man. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Not only is it my game of the year, it's one of my best games of all time. There you go. That's all I can say. I need some water. Steve, take it away.
It's good. Who's a kid?
Anyway, thanks for tuning in.
Anyway, look, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. This is the best game I've ever played. This is the greatest game of all time, ever. There's no game, in my opinion, that can hold a candle to it. Not only is it my favorite game, but it's probably, in my opinion, the best, most thought out game I've ever played. A lot of what I'm going to say is going to kind of echo Brandon, but it is a masterpiece from beginning to end. I mean, it is like Brandon said, getting from point A to point B was in itself amazing. Like some of the things that I did not care for in the older Zelda games, especially Wind Waker, was getting from point A to point B. And while I loved sailing around on Wind Waker, I find that a lot of the getting from point A to point B kind of seemed like a little bit of a drag. This game, just being able to interact with the environment in pretty much every way that you can imagine is just...
See a snail on the ground?
Yeah,
you can
pick it up. Just pick up the snail.
You can use it for something, man.
Yeah,
Everything has a use.
Make a potion out of it. You know, it was more an emphasis on survival out there.
Breath of the Wild.
It was literally you were out there at the mercy of the elements, and you had to.
What about that island?
Oh,
Just
even
everything.
Thailand.
Oh,
Hey,
dude.
can I add something real quick? I
Yeah,
forgot
go ahead,
to
go
add
ahead.
one negative thing. They didn't have any fishing poles in the game.
They didn't.
They didn't have a fishing like.
Oh,
You know, I've
man,
never really
they
thought
didn't.
about that.
That's all right, but you can still fish.
You can bomb fish.
Yeah.
You can bomb or swim and catch them.
Swim and catch
them.
I
Arrow
wanted to
fishing.
get in like a little canoe and go fishing.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
Yeah.
But
Forgot to add that in. Sorry.
I keep thinking of where I want to start with this, but it's so difficult for me to because there's just so much going on. I know Brandon mentioned a couple things about the narrative, but in my opinion, I think the narrative was absolutely amazing. I think it's the best narrative in a video game that I've ever played, and here's why. Because you wake up as Link 100 years after pretty much the Hyrule is just ruined. The apocalypse of Hyrule, essentially. You wake up 100 years after that. So you're rediscovering yourself. So you're not going to know everything that's going on. So the idea behind it is that Link has to rediscover everything. So if you were just kind of spoon-fed the narrative from the get-go, I think it would ruin the experience, in my opinion. The purpose of those memories are to get Link to rediscover everything. To know, like, I was the hero, I need to be the hero again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right now, you're just like, I have no idea what's going on. He's got amnesia when he wakes up. He doesn't even know his own name, you know? And that's, man, from the get-go, from the freaking get-go, you are just thrown into chaos. Like, even on that plateau, you just don't know what's going on. If you're not careful, you will die at the hands of a bokoblin that... In past, like, they had bokoblins. What other games did they have bokoblins? They had it in Skyward Sword. Were they in any other games? You died to a bokoblin in any other game.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. In this game, it's expected.
Them white ones.
Especially the white ones.
In the beginning, the silver ones are like, what's the World of Warcraft?
Elite.
The skull. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta. It's not meant to be easy. But the thing that really impressed me was that this is your adventure. It's not Nintendo holding your hand saying, go to this temple, go to this temple, go to this temple. It's not linear at all. It is literally go out, save the world.
Go straight to Ganon if you want.
Sure.
If you
Don't suggest.
do not, no. Don't do it.
It'd be a heck of a challenge.
It is, and I commend anybody who can do it. Don't do it. Anyway, just man, from beginning to end, I have discovered every inch of that continent, of that map. I've been to every single part of that map. In fact, after I got the DLC, they have the Hero's Path. You know what the Hero's Path is?
Yeah.
You can watch your journey as a little green line. I turn that thing on, my map is just green.
So can I ask a question? Because
Yes,
that's something I was concerned about. Because I'm going back and picking it up. Will it track the progress I've
Yes.
already made?
Yes.
What?
Like, I turned it on, my entire map is green.
That's kind of a
My
game changer.
entire map is green. And you can watch it from the beginning. It'll show you, like,
Really?
Yeah, go back and check that
you
out.
could, you
my
could
map,
either,
my whole map's probably green too.
Because I explored
you
the
could,
heck out of
you
it.
could, you press play, and it shows you every time you die too. So it's like death, death. Now it's a little slow, so you might want to like fast forward through it.
Sure.
Because you'll be there for a while. But
I
that's
fast
just,
forward mine.
oh my god, it's
Jacob played that
incredible.
way too long.
It's incredible. I've explored. I've gotten every shrine. It's just, I can't even begin to tell you guys, man. It is amazing. And then the fact that not only is it just an emphasis on survival, but it is literally just like your survival is essential, and it's not easy to just you can't just survive. You can't just grab a weapon and go out into the wild and survive. You have to strategize. You have to say, okay, what's this durability of this weapon like? You have to know where you're going and how you're gonna what you plan to combat the elements with. Like Brandon says, it's a brand new experience depending on what's going on. You are the type of person that hacks and slash. Like you see a bokoblin camp, you're going running there, swinging your sword, but it's raining. You can't use a sword. You can't use a metal shield. How are you gonna do it? But the benefit to the rain is you could stealth better because they can't hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Get your little sound meter at the bottom.
You got your sound meter at the bottom, and then
maybe you're wearing armor that makes you stealthier.
Your
the Sheikah armor.
Oh, which is so good.
Isn't it?
That's all I wear.
Isn't it?
That's all I wear.
And then when you get the amiibo, you get the amiibo to get Sheik's mask. It's like, do I want Sheik's mask or do I want?
I preferred the ninja.
I like them both. They were both really good.
I agree.
But
It's so
so there's so much to talk about, man. And then just that build up. And you see, the thing about, like, yeah, you didn't have Ganondorf in your face taunting you, but you know what you did have? You had that castle surrounded by the entity. That entity, the Calamity Ganon, you want to know how they describe him? He is literally malice incarnate. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. He is malice incarnate. So when you look at that castle and you see that swirling entity roaring just out of the blue, just like you're watching it, like, to me, that's more foreboding than having him taunt you.
Once you get the Guardians set up and they're shooting the lasers, and you can see it.
Yep.
Sorry, game.
You got excited, man.
Sorry, man. I just love that game.
It's so good.
Can I say something?
And this, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if it's a point you're going to get to, but this is something we're kind of not thinking about just in the story. And
I really don't know if there is a point I'm getting to, Jacob. I think I'm just talking
no,
about
that's
it.
fine.
I have to cut you off, man.
No. Let's talk about. Okay, number one, it was a Switch launch.
Yes.
God bless poor Bomberman and 1-2 Switch because they were launched right with it. Everyone that had a Switch had Breath of the Wild. But let's talk about
it was near 100%.
Not taking the Switch's mechanics and their gyroscope and all their parts and making it gimmicky. How many times did you guys aim with the thumbsticks and then use your pad to go?
I did.
That is perfect.
Or use the temples.
So great.
The temples where you're having that one where you had to roll the marble. You know, and I think Steve or somebody said they just went, heck it, and they flipped the switch.
I got real mad, and I just freaking...
It just happened to fall.
No, I flipped it upside down, and it just landed.
Or your special ability, your magnet. Or using the switch to pick up a big old brick and fly over this bugman's head and go, whoop,
it was just...
and drop it.
It goes back to that dynamic strategic.
Not only do they launch with the Switch, but they utilize the Switch's hardware.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, to be perfectly honest,
perfectly.
My number one, obviously, does it too, but I think Zelda did
Breath
it
of the
a lot
Wild
more
did it a lot
pinpoint
better.
and
It's
better.
a lot better for me.
Utilizing their hardware in the Switch.
Yeah.
Steve,
let me tell you this, and this is how I'm going to wrap up.
Words.
This is how I'm going to wrap up, all right?
Ooh, sorry, guys.
Not like I know I've been talking about best game of all time. My number one most just best moment for me was the trek through Hyrule Castle.
Okay,
That music,
I want to talk about this.
That music, the music playing, and the fact that there's not one way. There is like 10 ways you could get to Ganon. Maybe you want to go through the castle, go through every single room. Maybe you just want to go through the castle part. Maybe you want to just go through the dungeons.
Many traps, gatehouses with Lionel battles, guardians flying around at every turn.
Maybe you just want to climb up the wall.
Maybe you want to go through the bottom, trek your way through the top, and then get to the armory and get some of the best weapons in the game, including the Hylian shield. Maybe you want to get up that way, take out some guys stealthily, then get to the main chamber. It's
the music.
The music is so good.
That plays in that part. Probably my favorite gaming track of all time.
It's pretty good.
It's so amazing. Just that hype. It's just hype. That's what it's doing the entire time. Just building the hype. It's just like
my favorite part. I'm getting goosebumps too.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Ganon.
I like it whenever you get to, like, I don't know if you climbed all the way to the very tip top of the castle and that music's playing, and you're just looking at everything, and you're holding with one hand, and you're just like looking at everything. Oh, there's a Korok seat up there.
Isn't it? Yeah, there is a Korok seat up there. Isn't it like the highest point in the game?
It is.
Like, you go all the way up to the top, to the tip top. You don't go and fight Ganon. You go all the way to the top. That little flag mast on top of the highest tower, you see everything. And that moment is when it really hits you to how massive that world is and how much thought and effort that the developers and oh man, all the people, Eiji Onuma and all the
when they accepted their award for Game of the Year from VGAs, the Video Game Awards, that song was playing too.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolute. Oh man,
That's
got to be the best build up ever.
Not trying to be a damper, but also another negative thing I just remembered is that I feel like the horses were a little useless. I love the way they control, but half the time I was climbing and I left them behind.
Epona. Once I got Epona, I was like,
once I got Epona, I didn't. I had some just to name them just for the sake of naming some.
I got the special ones that you can get, like Ganondorf's horse and Zelda's horse, but I don't really care about Epona. Yeah.
But anyway,
but guys, oh man, and then the final battle to me was probably one of the best.
Oh man,
climaxes,
Ganon looks
one of the
scary as heck, dude.
He comes out with this.
I like it when he goes down veto mode. Anyway, we got to move on, Steve.
Abacus!
I want to keep talking about it too, but we got to move on.
I'll end on this. That game, I know I said masterpiece. That is a gorgeous, beautiful, packaged masterpiece. I don't think I'll see another game that tops it in my lifetime. I don't think
What about the next one, man? What about the next Zelda?
Zelda VR.
Man, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them to top this.
Anyway.
They have done it before, but man, it's going to be very hard for them to top it, to me, in my opinion.
Obviously, we know Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey, like I said, going back to the Switch, brought back the inner child in Jacob. And maybe it's not so much maybe it might be a little bit of bias. Maybe I don't have that strong connection to Zelda like you guys did growing up, but I'm
with you. It was hard for me to pick, man.
This was hard, and I want to make this disclaimer because I sound like I was probably most of my stuff was pretty negative about Zelda, and you're like at number 2, you talked about all you do was all the cons. The cons were because I knew everything y'all were gonna say. I was gonna cover. It was me covered. So, man, Mario, and this is what I wrote. That was my notes. Those are my keynotes right there. Smokes and smiles abounding. There were so many times in that game I would just sit and I would literally go and just a smile. And it was not like a forced or like a giggle or like, haha, that was really funny. It was just like a feeling that I got. And Zelda did it different.
It's like
Zelda,
seeing an old friend.
Mm-hmm. Zelda did it different. It was more like the ooh, ah, like the oh my gosh, what am I doing?
It was emotional. But you did get smiles, but you also got feelings. And you got the scaredness. You get the fear.
Yeah.
But with Mario, it was just kind of like, boy,
yeah,
man.
It's like my best friend. I haven't seen him forever. Yeah.
Jump around. He's back.
He's back. It's just
back.
every little bit about it. But to me, and see, that's which is crazy because I kind of like open sandbox games. But with Mario, it's not. It's very condensed. Concise. Now, to Mario's downside, some of the maps are a little lesser than others. But to me, I would have to say, to be honest, both of them are probably 10s.
Of course.
But Mario Odyssey, to me, is a perfect game. It's a perfect platformer. I don't think I've ever played a platformer this well. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
3D? No.
Yeah.
Not a 3D platform. Never, ever.
That's the best 3D platform there is.
As much as I love the Banjo-Kazooie series,
I mean, like you said, the Goombas. You're like throwing your hats at like everything. What can I do with this guy? Well, I can do this with this guy. There was not one creature that I connected with Cappy. I'm like, it was just alright.
Something tucked in every corner of that game.
Yeah. And for me, and the reason that Zelda I didn't complete it is because Jacob has ADD.
SDD, single player deficit disorder.
Single player deficit.
SDD.
It sounds like STD.
Well, actually, I'm gonna, sidebar. I want to say that, in my opinion, I think Breath of the Wild is a perfect ADHD game.
It is
because of the fact that you get so sidetracked, you can actually do everything.
Yeah, you can, right? Because y'all were like blowing through it, and like, how many Korok seeds you have, Jacob? I was like, oh, I've got like, I don't know, blow the line, like. Jeez, you need to blow through the story, dude. Quit playing with those
turn those in, man.
Yeah.
You had like 200.
Yeah. So, but like,
there's 200 in the game.
And then, you do upgrade and get better, and you get more slots and everything. But like with Odyssey, it's quenching that thirst, but it's not so much a chore. Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying. There hasn't been a moon where I was like,
God, that was hard to get.
Yeah. There have been some moons that were a challenge, but when I was done, like you said, and I haven't even played the darker side of the moon, but but when I get done, I'm like.
You got that moon. When you get that darker side of the moon done, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be the best feeling.
Are you finished? You got them all?
Me? All of them? No, I didn't get every specific one, but I have like over 600. So
yeah, I'm at almost 300. I'm still on the beach.
1,000?
It's like 900.
But I have I have what I am doing right now with it is I'm actually, before I leave, once I've got all my moons, which I have plenty enough to just skip that place and go on rather than beating the boss battle, as I'm getting every Bowser coin. I want to go ahead and do that now as I go through. So I've gotten every Bowser coin 100 with everything I've done so far. The purple ones.
Oh,
purple ones.
I didn't realize
But man, the music.
Oh.
Look, I love you, and you have good music. You do it spot on. But a lot of times when the episode ends, I don't listen to the rest of the podcast. You're like, all right, we'll see you later. What'd you end with last episode?
Odyssey song.
And
we got flagged for copyright, but it's okay.
I don't even care because we said goodbye, and I was listening to it, and I heard it. I was like,
Odyssey.
I'm listening to this
you
now.
Can't, I'm snapping. I'm not trying to do this.
Come on and jump up in the air. Oh my god!
There's another dude.
Isn't-
You gotta beat that game.
Okay. I'll work on it.
There's a part.
New Dog City, right?
Oh yeah.
Metro Kingdom. I said it last episode, but God, is that not the best finale?
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about what you're doing.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh, you gotta get it, man.
All right.
Finish it. That is my homework this week. I will come back with you. It's gonna be hard because I haven't even been playing.
You gotta.
I know. I have so much. All right, but serious. The combat, to me personally, I'm not maybe on Brandon's caliber, and even probably Steve's when it comes to these older Nintendo games, but they're not older, but that platforming. But I found that there were still some areas, like maybe some of those ones where you throw the hat door, excuse me. They were a little bit of a challenge. There's one right now where I'm having to, it's on snow, and you have to use the little onion guys and jump and flip, but there's those little spinning things, and you have to flip over those, and then...
I love that challenge.
Yeah, but the appreciation for completing it, that, like you said, that just that, yeah, when you're done, and nobody can appreciate it like you can when you've done it, once you've accomplished that. And it's like every time I grab a moon, and there's different ways of doing it. I think we were talking about the Sand Kingdom, the first, what's it called? Tosarena. There was a hat there, or moon there, that you collected differently, but I said, yeah, I just grabbed, I can't remember the name of the guy, but the chameleon guy that used the wing, I just flew down and grabbed it. And you're like, oh, really? But there's different ways you can kind of like Zelda in a way, you can approach the moons.
That's what I really liked about it.
And so, man, just everything about that, but to me... Man, these were so close, and again, I want to go back to the listeners and just tell them, look, it wasn't anything negative about Zelda. Zelda's a 10 out of 10, and Mario's a 10 out of 10. But when it came down to it, my inner child, my inner feels, my smiles with Odyssey, the costumes with Odyssey.
I got a complaint about Mario Odyssey. There ain't no Luigi in there.
Not one iota of Luigi.
There is no
Luigi?
There's a little pixel art of him, but Luigi ain't in there. Alright,
Where's Luigi?
there's some other...
Mother Luigi!
Hey, some other people make some entrances, but Luigi ain't
Is
in
Yoshi?
there. I don't know.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I'm full of crap.
Alright, guys, that's it.
But Luigi's not in there.
But okay,
we gotta pull a plug.
That must be the 64 reference. All right, but anyways, but no, even just I loved how they put the retro maps in there. When they threw those retro maps,
2D scroll.
the 2D.
You don't know yet. You gotta finish it, man.
Come on, Jacob!
So I don't know, just everything
I
about
have a hemorrhoid over here.
the field trip with Mario Odyssey to me. And I'm finding with Zelda, I got to a point where I kind of started losing track, and then I'd pick it back up, and then I'd lose track. With Mario, I'm just pacing myself.
I feel like
I can pick Mario back up and put it down.
I feel like you didn't have as much of an emotional connection to Zelda as we did.
Probably not, and that might be some unbiased there.
Because I know you didn't play a lot of those Zelda games like Majora's.
I went back and played them older, so it wasn't more of a kid trip.
It's a coming of tale thing for this, and I can understand. But same thing, because I'm on both sides of the fence.
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
And, so I know exactly where it comes. Because Mario has a very, very special place for me as well.
And
this year was just
Mario.
Full.
We were spoiled this year. Gamers, the gaming community were spoiled this year.
I'll end with my one in saying that had I had that connection, I would probably agree with you guys. Zelda would probably be on top, just because of everything you explained when it comes down to the breadth of the wild. The mechanic of what you can do in the wild has never been done, not only in a Zelda universe, but in a gaming universe in general.
Yeah.
Which I understand now that statement saying this is probably one of the best games of all time.
Nintendo, man.
But I think that kid connection, that's where the bias comes in with me with Mario.
Just the jumping, the music, the control.
I will say this.
I
love just taking my little pro and going fly.
Yeah,
flicking
I want
Cappy.
a FU DLC for Mario Odyssey where it's like FU beat these levels. Here you go. Because the controls, man, I just love those. Anyway, hey, are you done?
Woo!
Real
Did
quick.
you finish or are you done?
That's hard.
We're running long.
Yeah, we got to blow through the miscellaneous.
Everyone, give me your top. Steven, do you have a top 10 or you just have top?
I just
5?
got some honorable mentions.
Okay, go ahead and just do your honorable mentions. real quick.
Wolfenstein and Destiny 2. Those were actually fighting for number 5, but then as soon as Brandon said Resident Evil 7, I was like, there goes my top 5.
There goes that.
There goes my top 5. I gotta redo it.
And for me at number
the second
8,
he said it.
for me at number 8 would have been Splatoon 2. Number 7, actually, I'm going to go ahead and switch these right now after hearing everybody and talking. The only reason, I'm going to say Friday the 13th at number 7 for the reasons that Brandon talked about. If the matchmaking was better, it'd probably be at 6. And then Resident Evil 7, even though I didn't play very hard into it, that's the most terrifying experience I've ever had in VR, and I haven't even finished the freaking game in general. So Resident Evil 7 at number 6.
Alright, so look, I haven't had enough time. I haven't put enough hours into Persona.
Let's hear it.
I want to put Persona 5 at number 10, but I have not put enough hours. I'm thinking about just doing it anyway because I'm upset with my number 10 anyway.
Okay.
But let me name them off.
Sure.
Number 10 was Destiny 2.
Sure.
Just because it's the same game. You know what? Screw it. Put Persona 5 there.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
fine, yeah.
I'm sorry. Persona 5 is good. I only put like 10 hours into it, and it's a 100-hour game.
If you felt that good, that's how I felt about Cuphead.
Injustice 2 at number 9. It's
surprisingly,
fun.
yeah.
There's a lot to bring me back to it. They do the properties, the intellectual, the IP. They just do it good.
Yeah.
There's loot box systems, but it's fair. It's freaking fair.
Sure.
Number 8's Cuphead. I love the difficulty. Like I said, I'm just that guy. I adapt and overcome. Number 7, Uncharted Lost Legacy was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's right.
Some free roam in that game, and the characters. Screw Nathan Drake. I want these characters, man.
Number
Anyway,
6, I'm surprised.
Sonic Mania at number 6.
Ah, okay, that's right.
I kind of already talked about it. And then Friday at 5, Resident Evil 7 at 4, Horizon 3, Odyssey 2, Breath of the Wild 1. Let's talk about our biggest disappointments real quick. What is your biggest disappointment?
I think
Steve,
me and
go.
you are on the same page.
We
Go,
are. Steve,
go.
biggest disappointment? Star Wars Battlefront 2. Why?
Pretty much.
I don't know why you're disappointed.
This is the thing.
You should have expected it.
I did expect it. I did expect it, but this is why I'm disappointed. First of all, I knew Battlefront 2 was gonna suck.
You're
But that's the problem. I knew it was gonna suck.
It shouldn't
When
have.
I rented it, I played it. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I really enjoyed the gameplay. But the problem is that this is the 2 reasons why it's disappointing to me. Number 1, they did not listen to all of the fans. They did do a good job at listening to the fans, but not all the fans. They still do not want to give us that single player experience with Battlefront that we loved. Now, granted, I like the idea of it being multiplayer, but when the internet's down, what I'm supposed to do?
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
I enjoyed
That's
the beta.
why it's so disappointing. And then the whole flop with the loot boxes.
And the customization options they found that were off the record that they haven't done.
Exactly.
So the game was designed to have customization, but they won't let it.
It's like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? You
2 words.
you guys have.
Electronic Arts.
I kind of want to talk about our disappointments real quick because I think we all know why.
Yeah, that's my
Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2, man.
Really?
For glaring reasons.
Look,
Why?
it's not disappointing
yeah.
doesn't mean it's bad.
Yes.
It's a good game, but dude, it's the same game. They didn't fix the friend
Here's
system.
the problem.
There's no party. There's no
matchmaking.
Party no partying up. We can't play with each other on the same team by choice.
Nope.
We can play together through a big hassle of a process. We can get into the same game and hopefully not get disconnected or want to change our weapons or our loadouts.
I've heard people argue online about Nintendo and their connectivity and their party system. Let me
got
tell you
to
something.
fix that.
Me and you can connect on Mario 8 Deluxe. No problem.
Yeah,
No
at
problem.
all.
No lag. Not an issue.
We can be on the same server.
On Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Oh, yeah.
Our
Yeah.
connectivity is not a problem
But
on
with
Switch.
Splatoon, man,
They
it's
will
like,
not.
firstly, you get into a server, you're stuck there. You can't change your loadout. You want a different weapon? Oh, well, you have to get back and do the whole process again. If I want to get in the same game as him, or I want to get in the same game as you, I have to start a game, and hopefully the game doesn't get filled up, which it does, because there's a lot of people playing Splatoon, and the matchmaking's well done. It lets you play pretty quick.
The matchmaking's
but
quick.
I have to wait for the match to get over. It's 3 minutes. I gotta wait 3 minutes. I gotta get on. And what if Jacob played and he's like, I don't like this gun. We gotta start the whole process over again. There should be a way for us to change our loadouts in a party that we can be in together, and we can be on the same team, because even if we do get in the server, we might not even be on the same team.
These were all
is the
glaring
problem.
issues all over the internet,
Exactly.
all over Reddit, all over from one.
From the
Exactly.
first,
And we're
from
like,
the first
all
game.
right, 2,
Let's
they
do
gotta
the same
fix
thing.
that.
Didn't fix
This is the problem. They want to market it like people market Call of Duty. It's like, yeah, they've got stuff to do by yourself, but this game is designed to be a competitive multiplayer game.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it's just not user friendly like it should
If
be.
you got 8 people playing, sure.
Maybe
But
not on the
you don't.
intensity of the esport scene, but that game could possibly be into
Private-
that
it
It could
realm.
really be a good esports
Private server,
game.
private
do it.
servers, you can do that, but private servers,
Yeah.
you can't level up, you can't get new stuff. So that's a big disappointment.
Yeah, big.
They really need, like, Nintendo really needs to sit down and just get out of this warped ancient mindset that we've got to coddle
They're
these
just
kids.
pup-balls. They know how to do it. They know how to do it well, but they're gonna do it like they want to do
Traditional.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another big disappointment, and it's not for me because I don't really like Mass Effect, but Mass Effect Andromeda,
Ooh, I
That was a
forgot
big
about
disappointment.
Andromeda.
it killed Mass Effect. Mass Effect is done. It's not coming back
Yeah.
because of Andromeda.
That's
And I
EA.
feel bad.
That's sad.
I feel bad because I know people who swear by those games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Andromeda was supposed to compete for Game of the Year. Nobody's talking about it.
Um,
Nobody's talking about it in any context.
And another disappointment. I know it's in my top 5. Friday the 13th with that problem.
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing.
But
to
they
see
talked
them.
about, they
They're
have
trying.
promised to talk about trying to fix it, so.
They're trying.
And it's a small studio.
It's pretty much an indie game. Anyone have any other disappointments?
No,
But Splatoon 2 is definitely my biggest one.
Yeah, I agree.
Great,
I don't know why they screwed that up.
As long
2017
as
games
it-
we didn't get to play.
Games we
Yeah.
didn't get to play.
That are not on this list.
Nier Automata, I didn't get to play.
Sure.
I didn't get to play like What Remains of Edith Finch. I didn't get to play A Night in the Woods. I didn't get to play like those walking simulator type games. Pyre, that's another game I didn't get to play.
But what's the one you want to play the most?
Yeah, play the most.
but let me say that I am playing these. I'm just not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not done. Persona 5. I really want to play more of that game. It's turn-based JRPG style.
That's
Take your
right up
time.
your alley.
Right up my alley. I love it. It tackles some really deep themes, man. Like I didn't know what I was getting into. I've never played a Persona game before, and just being able to see like, because you're a kid in the school and there's a lot of like cultural differences that it makes me want to play with the Japanese on, because it makes more sense to me that
Okay.
way. Because there's some things that they talk about, like for example, there's this girl who's dating a teacher, and that doesn't make sense for our culture, but for their culture it makes sense because the age of
Really?
consent's like 13 over there.
Oh, wow.
It's fun. I love the music. The music is good. I can't wait to play more of it.
For me, I would say definitely Cuphead for all the reasons stated, so I don't really even repeat it again.
You can play it after the show.
Yeah, I can. I just don't. My computer doesn't work, and I don't have an Xbox One. And the same reason for the next one would be PUBG. For obvious reasons, I had Fortnite at number 5. Well, the reason I want to play Pub is because I want to see. I want to see what's going to make it so special and set apart. And those vehicles, even though albeit I've heard the vehicles kind of suck. But and the ability to customize your character is a little cooler than Fortnite. Fortnite style age looks cool, but then either you base one skin and you gotta pay money for it. So
That is free game.
Yeah, definitely.
PUBG is $40, $40.
I don't know, maybe 40.
Other than all of them, I had to narrow it down because I want to play all of them.
Nier, Nier has always
Yeah.
interested me too.
But to be honest, the two that I would have to say, and it was impossible for me to pick one or the other, Horizon and PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Sure.
I really want to play Horizon Zero Dawn
Well, you can
because
borrow
of
one
all the good
After
things.
what we just said.
All the good things about it.
When and if I finish it, I'll give it to you.
Well, I had always wanted to play it ever since I saw it come
Poor
out.
Final Fantasy, we've been getting ready for this moment.
I will admit, I'm terrible because I'm kind of letting my Zelda bias like turn me off on it because the fans on social media.
Don't compare
I
it.
don't-
No, it's not the comparison. No. The fanboys of Horizon Zero Dawn are
saying,
kind of making me not like it for some reason because they're
Me-
being stupid.
Me personally,
on
More
social
like
media.
Far Cry.
I don't.
Crying about it on the internet.
I don't think there's. I mean, I compared them earlier, but I don't see a
Yeah,
comparison.
I don't think there's a comparison either. Just a lot of the fanboys of the game were upset that Zelda won Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year over Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think that
No,
game
I
can totally
agree.
that game can compete with most people, for a Game of the Year. I'm not saying that it's not worthy of it. I'm sure, just from what I've seen, it's really good. It won't touch it in my opinion, but I'm sure. But I don't know. I just don't like the elitist mentality of some gamers, and I guess
that's more of a
unfairly.
That's more of a community problem.
And I'm unfairly taking it against.
Don't
Horizon
let it.
Zero Dawn. I don't know why.
And trust me, I'm in the same boat as you because I played Zelda first. Give it a chance. Definitely give it a chance.
No, I will give it a chance.
It reminds me more of Far Cry, and to be honest, the combat reminds me a lot more of Tomb Raider.
Really?
To be honest.
Yeah, it does. And does robots? I kind of enjoyed fighting the robots in Horizon more than I fought the Guardians in Zelda.
And the reason I want to play PlayerUnknown Battleground, Guardians of Zelda were just like you want to pull your hair out
Ancient arrow to
sometimes.
the eye.
Yeah, that's it.
Until you get that ancient arrow.
Collect
and
the
it's just
parts.
like,
fine. But once, like I said,
You hear that
that's
music and
that's
it's
what
like
that problem with being overpowered towards the end.
But the reason why I want to play PlayerUnknown Battleground is, like Jacob said, that's kind of where
Everybody's doing it.
Well, not necessarily. It looks
Jacob,
like a
was that
fun
your
game.
number one? Mario Golf
Mario
Toast
Golf,
Tour?
yeah.
And I want to see how that plays in comparison to Fortnite.
Yeah, same.
Because maybe I'll like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds more. Maybe I'll like Fortnite more. I don't know. I would like to be able to have.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
No, I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a rocket
I would
surgeon.
like to be able to say, okay, this one does better, this one doesn't do better, And I won't be able to do it probably because I don't think my computer can run it.
Hey, how about next episode we talk about what we're most anticipating for the next year?
Sounds good.
Maybe so.
Let's do that. Is everyone done?
Most surprising game.
Most surprising game?
That was the last one.
Oh God.
Games that we kind of were like, let's see, and then they surprised the socks out of us.
Man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm going to say mine if you're thinking about it.
Go ahead.
And believe it or not, was
I'm gonna
Mario
say mine.
Odyssey. I was excited for Odyssey, but we saw so much in the trailers. I was.
How about this? The Switch. I want to bring this up. I'm glad we said
I would
this.
agree. I changed it. I changed it to the Switch.
So
the Switch all the way.
Not that I was
agree.
I was a little worried about the Switch, but I just wanted to put the Switch as number one on my list. Everything that the Switch is number one.
Agreed.
But
Best console ever.
Hey, do you know? As of I think today or yesterday is the most sold console in U.S. history. Mm-hmm. As of yesterday.
Out beating the PlayStation 2.
Bruh, Aiden and Blaine have one now.
Everyone has a Switch now, dude, and they're keeping up with demand. Give
For
us
the
them
first
games.
time ever, it seems like, good lord, the Wii
It's
launched
not-
that Christmas, there was not a Wii to be seen anywhere.
Same thing with the Switch. And it wasn't even a holiday, but it's not perfect. They have problems.
Yep.
But I find myself asking. I've been playing Persona 5.
Why is it on the Switch?
And I'm like, why is Persona 5 not on the Switch? Mm-hmm. Why is this game not on the Switch? Mm-hmm. Why can't I play this on the Switch?
Now, look, back in the old console
Samus
days.
Returns.
Why isn't it on the Switch?
Back in the old console days,
Horizon Zero Dawn? Why is it on the Switch?
whenever there's games.
I know I said.
Whenever there would be games that are on the same systems, like those games that would make it to all three of them, my default was 360 and then PS4. Now I think my default will be Switch.
I agree.
Like
It
Wolfenstein,
depends.
I really want to get for the
Single
Switch.
player games, I'm looking more at the Switch now.
Yeah, multiplayer games.
I've been
I'll
trying not to
probably
buy
still
that
stay
LA
with
Noir,
PS4.
man. I just want to play it again.
I gotta
It's
get.
too big.
I gotta get the freaking.
it's a good game.
I gotta get a micro SD card before I even
micro
think
SD
about
for
that.
that one.
But my biggest surprise for me was ukulele.
Yeah.
And I mean that because it's not that
That's a good one.
it's not that I thought it was gonna be bad. I knew it was gonna be good. It was made by the same people from Banjo-Kazooie.
Say the same way with Super Mario.
But it is what Banjo-Kazooie is supposed to be.
It's exciting.
It's like I look at it and I'm playing. I'm just like, I miss these games. I miss this game like this. I mean, even the controls, bro. You know how Banjo-Kazooie, like, she got that flap thing that hovers? Ukulele's got that. Laylee flapped for Yuka. I didn't even think she's gonna be able to do that because she's a bat. But she does it.
You talked about it earlier. It's okay. I agree.
Biggest surprise, that and the Switch. Because
the
come on, the
Switch.
Switch.
Yeah. Mario Odyssey and the Switch.
The Switch is the best console
Hopefully
ever.
we didn't
Fight
do 2
me if you
hours.
disagree.
Probably. I think we did. But anyway,
It was worth the 2 hours though.
that's
Golly.
our show. I'm going to separate a lot of this into individual videos, and I'm all going to post one big one. But thank you so much for watching the show.
Pop the confetti.
Tell us what your games of the year were. Tell us what your biggest surprise was. Tell us what your
Yeah, if you didn't
biggest
make it into the show,
disappointment
we
was.
can read it next episode.
Yes, absolutely. And then our next episode, we're going to be talking about the games that we're looking forward to most next year.
2008.
And how about with this? How about we also make a prediction, a safe prediction and a crazy prediction. So
Oh yeah,
Like
bold
what's gonna
picks.
release in
Bold
18?
picks.
let's do that. So like, hey, Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be good. That's my safe prediction.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And you do bold picks.
Let's do
too.
that. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you like this, please subscribe to us, comment, give us likes. It helps us out a bunch. We like making this show for you. It's fun. Click in all these different directions to follow us to all kinds of different things like Let's Plays, Epic Maneuvers, our other podcasts, even little funny things that we do. Who knows? I might even post little memes that I make. I don't know. I'm Brandon,
I'm Jacob.
I'm Steven.
and we will see you next week.